Welcome back, Summoners, to Aegis AEL. This is the start of a brand new season and a brand new journey tonight. It's going to
Yes.
be Sinset taking on Khan. I'm your host for the evening, Korak, joined by my friend DBZ.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. It is a good night for some League of Legends here. It is a good Thursday night. We're here at AEL, and these two teams are going to battle it out to see who comes out on top and has a good start to the split because obviously, teams want to start with the win off the split. They want to start off hot. And this is going to be a 10-week season, I believe. We go from now until finals all the way in December. December 18th is when finals are. So we're in for a long journey from all of these teams coming across this. And Korak, we're both excited. How excited just are
Absolutely.
you?
I would say pretty excited. I've seen a bit of kind of a hodgepodge from Sinset, as in those members before, but not necessarily in this particular team. So I'm excited to see what we can get out of them. I'm excited to see this early seasons because this is a good opportunity for a lot of people to try some of the weird DBZ, and I'm here for the
The
weird. I'm
weird.
here for the strategies you just don't think will work, and this is the best time to see them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is usually about the time of the year where it's like teams are really experimenting with things, picking some really funky picks. As we have Sinset's roster on the screen, and they are playing up against Con Esports tonight. So that is going to be the other team that they are playing against. Also, just going back on the point that we were making about experimenting in the early parts of the season, the teams are picking the more spicier picks, and now it's like, aha, we might have this for later, or maybe we played it in scrims and we want to draw a ban or something, and then we pick this really funky thing that you're not going to see coming. Kind of something along those lines of what we could see. It's always fun at the start of the seasons, no matter what league it is. Like even if it's here or the LCS next year, the LPL, or even when World starts next week, it's like we just don't know what these teams have planned yet, and it's so exciting to see, especially coming in to the series tonight.
It definitely adds a fresh new coat of paint to each new season as they come in. Especially if we've got a new champion. Like for a while, Yunara was pretty dominant. She was like the prominent like T1
Yeah,
pick, the prominent picker ban, and then suddenly she just got a swift kick to the crotch, and is no longer
still
where she
strong.
needs to be. I see, correct, yeah, and she did show up. I
Well,
found out that DBZ was also at LTA grand finals, and we did get to see both Lulu and Yanara, if I remember correctly.
it
We
was.
did get to
Mhm.
see both of them at the same time, same team, and it was phenomenal. So Yanara did a lot. I should have gotten a shirt while I was there. I just wasn't thinking about it. I guess what I was thinking about the $600 price tag I had already spent before I had even gotten in any of the lines.
Hey, sometimes it be like that, and it looks like we're getting ready to go into draft here in a second. So that is exciting to see. Now, I did a little bit of work before we got to this point. I kind of looked into both of these teams before we got started, and kind of looked at what they played, seeing what they've been enjoying recently, and everything was pretty standard across the board. Like the only spicy thing I saw, at least coming out of Sinset, was a potential Karma top, and that's something we don't see terribly often anymore. But I mean, that may be an option that they have. But also because that their jungler tends to play a lot more carry junglers from what I was seeing. Like the Gwen. I saw Graves in there, Zinzao in there, Viego. So it's like
Hmm.
it seems like they're kind of reliant on their jungler, mid jungle in particular, to set up the rest of the team for success. And as we're getting started with pick or ban, we do have the Mel that is taken off the table and the Nautilus as well. So off to a pretty okay start, I think, so far. Kind of just poking a little bit at these pools, a little bit kind of knocking champions off the board that they think that are strong or that they've scrimmed against in this instance as well. The Ashe also being taken off the table makes sense. I do not believe that Ashe got changed recently. That's my pick'ems. Never mind. I had the Passions open, but I guess that was my pick'ems instead. Aurora makes a lot of sense. That champion still is strong. I played her recently. She still does a lot of damage. I mean, patch was just today, I think, or yesterday, I believe. But it's interesting to see that people still are giving that respect over to the Aurora, especially if you have hands the player. She can be pretty obnoxious to play against. Final bans here for both these teams. Probably gonna go towards maybe one of these other little meta picks. Maybe we get a jungle ban here. Yeah, you could argue Mundo is a jungle ban more or less because Mundo can go in the jungle. And then I would think we're gonna ban away something next that's like really high priority, first pickable. Things like the Jinx, so we're seeing rise in priority once again. I mean, she's always been kind of hot, but like I've seen, at least it happened last week in Titan that I was watching, that Jinx was being first picked in games. So that is very interesting to note. If you are Con, maybe they want to go that route. I mean, ban away one of those priority carries or ban away a comfort pick that they come through. Yeah, there's the Cho'Gath, so that makes a lot of sense. Well, interestingly, a lot of quote unquote top priority, I guess, and looks like we're gonna get the Ziggs first pick. So interesting flex pick. So we're starting off with Korak.
I'm always a big fan of Ziggs for a lot of different reasons. He adds a lot of pushing power if you play him in bot lane, of course. Ziggs with grubs, he makes that priority so powerful to get their hands on. And I did want to double back really quick to the Mundo ban. That makes a lot of sense because Con actually, their top played top laner is actually Mundo. So banning out Dr. Mundo is something that they're watching out for. But I always feel like picking Dr. Mundo first is very scary, because Dr. Mundo wants to leverage his health bar. He wants to get some gold going, and there's so many other champions in top lane that are very good at just kicking the crap out of pure health bars.
Yep, and that is makes a lot of sense. You see Gwen here right now. Interestingly, as I'm kind of looking over here, it looks like the stream just a smidgen. Got a lot of lag going on.
So Ziggs into Gwen, I do like this. This gives a lot of, I don't know, maneuverability, but a lot of options on both sides. You know, Ziggs has to explore the push, and then Ziggs can fight a lot of time when it comes to opportunity for obvious reasons. And then we've got Gwen to just kind of a and come online and absolutely dominate things.
Absolutely. So we're getting a wee bit of technical difficulties right now. Just so everyone is aware, it will be okay. We will get caught back up in just a moment, and I should be back now. We're both back now. Hey, Lamau.
I disappeared for a little bit. I went into the void, and it was frightening, DBZ. But I am back.
Yes. Okay, cool. So we're getting over the rest of the comps. Oh, there's that karma. Huh, interesting. Okay. So we're going to get caught back up right quick. So we had at first, it was Ziggs that was first pick. Then we had Wukong, Caitlyn come through. Makes a lot of sense. Also has a lot of potential damage to this Varus now. So a lot of backline access as well. And with the karma, assuming this is karma support, most likely is, as we're getting the rest of the bans now. It's mainly top lane bans right now at the moment, which is interesting that we're banning Jax away when Jax is typically picked into Gwen. So I'm really curious the reasoning for that one, unless this is Gwen jungle and then they're fearing the Jax top. But see, that's the thing about some of these flex picks. It makes a lot of sense, but at like the same time they had first R4, so really curious on what their game plan here is for the side of Con. I'm wondering. Okay, Victor is a control, it makes a lot of sense. So they're really taking their time with this last pick. Assuming, again, this is not a karma top, but I'm really curious what the plan here is. And I think for the side of, okay, yeah, the Leona makes a lot of sense. I was getting ready to say Alistar, but never mind. I'm going to say you want some kind of hard engage here because they really don't have any. Leona makes a lot of sense. And I think pairing that with a control mage as well, since you know it's the Victor, you have Orianna open, you have Syndra open, just a few champions that can contend with him. Even if you want to be spicy, maybe even go Vex here. That is a possibility. It's a little bit of a stretch though. I just don't think that would come through. But so far, are you liking what you're seeing in terms of like the engage for the side of Sin?
I'm trying to break it down, and I think what it is it's stun, lockdown, and destroy. And then with Ziggs, of course, because of his satchel charge, he has a lot of different opportunities to reposition, right? So like say Varus gets a decent ultimate off, locks someone down, Ziggs pulls them into the team, or same thing with Leona. Leona goes in, starts a big fight, separates the team. There's a lot of really great potential there. And then Gwen, of course, having that barrier can play to sit like right outside the edge of it, keeping everyone out. So there's a lot of like isolation, stun, and just absolute dominate, and K'Sante plays really well into that DBZ.
Yeah, that's why I have the look on my face. It's like, so how do you respond if you're Colin? And they go ahead and pick the Mordekaiser, which I think is fair. Take out one of those massive damage carries that you were mentioning on the other side. Now, maybe not really Gwen, because 1v1 is kind of miserable for everybody. But in this instance, putting the K'Sante there, or the Mordekaiser into the K'Sante rather, is also a nice little backup option for this comp, because I was getting a little worried we weren't going to have too much frontline the way they were drafting right now, and there's a lot of frontline on the side of Sinset, and by God, that is going to be an unkillable wall, depending on also whatever Dragon Soul we get. That could also play a huge factor as well. But Khan's draft, I think, is okay. To me, it's, if this Caitlyn gets ahead, it can be really, if Caitlyn and Victor get ahead, it can be really obnoxious to play against if you're Sinset. So this draft could really go either way. It's just, in my head, there has to be that execution. That's what it has to come down to. So once we get that execution going, then both of these teams, I think we could be in for a really spicy game one, especially to start off the split. I'm sold.
Absolutely, DBZ, and I'm still trying to break apart the pieces here for each side. And what I'm thinking here is, depending on when the downtime is, or where specifically the downtime is for each jungler, Wukong might actually be looking for a little bit of a gank there on bottom, because, you know, as a support player, the thing I think about is the tempo being set by the supports, and Leona isn't super strong level 1. Granted, when she hits level 2, she's an absolute monster, and she dares you to poke her the same, like, just at all, that she wants you to poke her. And granted, it's an interesting needle to thread, but with Caitlyn and Karma, that's a very, very aggressive bot lane, and I'm kind of hoping this is Varus mid and not Varus bot. Varus does have some decent tools, but I'm really worried about him into Caitlyn Karma, and we have seen Varus make a semi-return to mid. I've seen it more often than, like, granted, I'm not a big fan of ADCs in the mid lane unless you're like Corki or Tristana. I'm a big fan of those two in mid lane, but really anyone else, like, I don't want to see Lucian. I don't want to see Jhin. I don't want to see Caitlyn. You know, maybe a return of Machine Gun Lulu. I'm fine with that. But that's really about it when we're talking about weird stuff in mid. That was a thing for a while, and I was a big fan of it, but I'm a diehard Lulu fan. But I think the poke is going to be insane there in the bot lane. I think Ziggs has the best kit in order to deal with that. But Varus is not too bad either, and they can go all in and press their buttons. Varus has an insane amount of burst damage paired with Leona, so if they can lock someone down, it'll do a lot, but they have to lock Caitlyn down, and they have to stop Karma from getting in their face. People forget how powerful that stun by Karma is, and her shields. Her whole kit is very, very strong, which has always seemed really weird to me, because she's been at the bottom of boards for quite some time, and as a support player, I really enjoy her kit. She has such a great versatility.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% there with you. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see where the placement. I think the placement of the Ziggs will tell us pretty much everything we need to know what the game plan is for Sinset. But the way it's looking right now, it's like we maybe want to poke out this Caitlyn and Karma from long range, you know, with this Ziggs. Let this Varus do his thing mid lane against Victor. Sure, it'll look awkward at first, but I think even if you want like Ziggs to be on the same level as Victor, then just kind of put him up there in the mid lane, kind of let them do their thing. But I honestly think that maybe Sinset are willing to play bot lane weak side this game. That is a potential idea. Let the Gwen and Ziggs do their thing, because it gets to the point where Gwen's going to be shredding health bars obnoxiously, and you have the cleanup from Ziggs there as well, and K'Sante doing the K'Sante thing that he always does. Champion being as obnoxious as he is and still able to 1v1 people. Watched a lot of that in EU Masters this week. Like, how broken is that champion with no damage items?
He's just a beefier Sylas, in my opinion.
It's absolutely ridiculous what that champion can do. But that is pretty much what I'm thinking maybe the game plan here is, because Varus, as we know, is a utility carry. Sometimes he just becomes an R bot and then presses W and Q, and then that's it. That's all that he does. And maybe that's what they're gaming on. They're just like, all right, Varus, do your thing, poke, Ziggs, press R, they die. If there's anyone living, Gwen is like, I'm gonna pop Ghost and come after you right now and start snipping away at your legs. That's probably the game plan for Sinset. Now, Khan, on the other hand, there's a little more, I don't want to say like sustained team fight per se, but I think it's more bursty. If I'm thinking correctly, because you can kind of their comp with Caitlyn and Victor are going to blow people up essentially with their abilities and whatnot. Mordekaiser just catches on any of the stragglers that try to do weird, funky things like stealing a Baron later in the game, stealing a dragon maybe at some point in the game too, you know, kind of knocking the other jungler out. And from there, they just go to like, let's just find someone to blow up. And maybe it's the Gwen, maybe it's the Ziggs. Probably gonna go for the Varus and the Ziggs because they'll be easier to get to per se. But it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how both of these teams are going to use these champions to their advantage. So it is the Varus in the bot lane, okay. So they're willing to, I think they're willing to play bot weak side this game, and maybe we'll get a lot of action out of this top side of the map from Sinset and Khan. God, I'm curious what they're gonna do, but I think it's gonna be a more bursty, like we're gonna blow you up type of copy style.
Absolutely, DBZ. And I'm kind of thinking about this the even further when we go on. We've got Sinset, and I think Sinset's really going to set the tempo for the entire game just because of their team comp, just because of how things have set up. Something I was going to mention before we actually knew where Ziggs was going was the placement of Ziggs is also going to determine a lot too, right? You mentioned, I think you called out correctly, that we've got Varus in the bottom, so now they're going to be playing weak side, but the goal might be in order for Sinset to go for those Void Grips because they're so powerful in Ziggs. They're not too bad at Gasante. They're just sort of good overall. And I personally am a big fan of giving up 2 Drakes or even just 1 Drake for the sake of getting their hands on the Grubs because it's sort of a permanent Baron buff. But we also saw it in LTA, and I believe the casters pointed out there as well, that buff doesn't matter if you can't reach the towers. And so there's kind of a way around that. Granted, you know, like I know that's a tall order to ask for, but it isn't impossible to happen for Khan to pull off that sort of action right there. And the other thing I think we got to watch out here for Khan is Khan has a lot of tools that just kind of deny a lot of area. Right, you don't want to run into Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser in itself is kind of an aerial denial. I'm going to put him in that category just because of how scary he can be. Wukong's got his cyclones, especially if you pair it up with his clone, so you always got to be conscious of that. Of course, you've got Victor with the massive stun bubble, and then his ultimate, and then Caitlyn with the cupcakes, and then just her kit avoiding the good line of damage, and then Karma adds a lot on that too because you can't really step too close to Karma. And I think the best tool for Set to use is going to be that Satchel Charge by Ziggs, or you'll have to tell me the name of the ability, I always forget it, but the arena that Gwen puts down I think are going to be 2 extremely important things. 2 extremely important things to watch out for, and specifically how they use it I think it's going to be even more important than placement.
Yup. Alrighty, so we're slowly getting into game. This is exciting, Core. So I've been kind of hyped for this for the last like few days now because it's like, oh man, we get to be back casting some League of Legends after watching some great League of Legends, and then we have Worlds starting in 5 days. That's even more good League of Legends. I swear to God, if T1 somehow do their T1 magic again, I'm going to tilt off the face of the earth.
Well, hopefully I'll be the first to know and see that coming so I can find a replacement for you. I can find a particularly strong doodle of you and see how well it does on the analytical side, or at least maybe pick up some ventriloquism if you go off the face of their either way. I'm also pretty excited for Worlds. And something I wanted to say too is doubling back to LTA. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at the, I forget what the previous acronym was for it, but LTA South, right? Brazil and everyone down there. I didn't. CVLOL, yeah. I didn't realize how fun not only the casters are, but the players are, right? And they've come a long way. Yeah, I think in like 4 years, from what I understand, they're competing with FlyQuest. You know, one of the top, one of the harder teams to go up against, just sort of in general. I think that's super awesome, and I'm excited to see where they're going to go. I hope to see them as in more appearances in Worlds and just sort of in general. And I kind of hope that with the sort of like reverting back to the old system, that we'll at least get to see some North versus South, because at least that part, that grand finals, as DBZ and I can attest to, was super exciting. I know there was a bunch of drama in between that, but it was great, and I was completely unsure of who to root for. It was completely back and forward in my opinion. FlyQuest ultimately won, but I was excited to see it.
God, it was so cool. Speaking of which, I'm doing my pick'ems right now, like I said I would. Now we're waiting for Spectally to be done. So I'm currently on which pro will get the most first bloods. I really want to put Peanut for some reason, but I also feel like maybe Ruler could too. Wait, it's Peanut's last worlds. I'm giving him half the stuff. Hold up. Who'd you pick for who would get the most first bloods?
I specifically avoid pick'ems because if I use any sort of logic and reason when it comes to pick'ems, I either curse people or they're just completely wrong. And so I'm trying the best I can to just, at least mathematically not out myself as a complete idiot. So I typically avoid them as much as I can. I'll make funny haha jokes about it, but that's really about it for my end.
Okay, that's completely fair. I just kind of picked kind of at random because I just did which pro will get the most kills in a single game. I picked Gumayusi, even though that's low-key unlikely, but we're gonna go into our own game of League of Legends right now as we're going on the rip for game 1 between Sinset and Con Esports. Now it looks like we're gonna get our El Clasico 5-point stance as right now. Maybe you will make it a trade of vision, might not get a trade of vision. Maybe the junglers will spot each other and they'll be like, oh, okay, let's use this information to our advantage. Let's change our game plan just a little bit. Or maybe we just say, screw it, we do a cheesy level 1 and weird things happen. But there's a plethora of things that could go fun for us. However, looks like we're getting a 5-point stance. Looks like a little bit of obnoxious Q damage. I'm assuming with Comet that means we are going Lethality Varus, so that poke Varus that I was mentioning earlier is going to come to life. I'm not too much of a fan of poke Varus. I've always hated Lethality Varus since like people started doing it years ago, but for some reason it just rears its ugly head into the game every single time. And there's that trait of vision that I was talking about. Looks like we get that Raptor Ward, but don't think that Karma will be able to move into the jungle to swap for the trait of vision, so it looks like they would just kind of have to have an inkling on where this Gwen is starting. They probably assume topside, but like still having that information on where Wukong is very crucial for the timings, especially for some of these potential support rooms that could come through later.
Well, and as I mentioned before in Draft DBZ, I think that's going to be really important specifically to figure out where Wukong is going, because we're both pretty positive that Caitlyn is going to have a pretty good bot lane. That's going to be the strong side for their side, or at least when it comes to the 2 bot lanes. So knowing where Wukong starts is going to be really, really important to that, because they're going to have to worry about those ganks. Granted, there's still an opportunity for, I believe that is Vul, for Vul to make their way downtown, walking really fast and pick up a kill. And look at that poke damage. I was talking about it there. And Varus is not a pushover, but it just doesn't compare to Karma Caitlyn.
No, absolutely, and that makes sense to the poke Varus also a lot more as well, because he knows this is a losing matchup 100%. So doing the lethality Varus, because lethality is, in fact, that lethality build is the cheapest build in the game. Getting that opportunity first, I think it's like 2,300 gold or something, it's stupid cheap. But that provides a lot of value to this Varus, then getting Yomu second, and then on from there, just stacking more and more of that poke damage to be just an absolute nuisance in some of these longer range fights. But 2 minutes in, and we saw a lot of heavy trading in the bot lane. Heal it up about now. No pots and only the biscuit in the inventory. But on the other hand, I mean, this Caitlyn's feeling good. She's still got 1 pot left. Hasn't taken too much damage. And the sustain's just all around better, especially having that heal on hand on the Karma. Here in mid lane, not too much going on. Looks like just, trade of spells here and there. And there's K'Sante doing K'Sante things as both champions are level 3. Down the CS, however, only 100. Not 100. No, yeah, 100 gold lead. Not too much to really say, but we can kind of talk about what's going on in the jungle right now. Both Wukong and Gwen are on the boss side of the map, so maybe anticipating that one of them will be there. With that in mind, yeah, you see a little bit of more poke damage there. We got the Matcha Q out, which means if Wukong decides to come down here, it won't be ready, but lots of different trade damage going on right now from Colleen and Browmaker.
A lot of back and forward. Something I think we should keep an eye on too is Varus's mana. Every time Leona walks up, they just take an absolute pounding, having to blow some pots already. Wukong Vul specifically is making his way down, and it looks like blue side already knows that. Okay, I thought that was going to hit. But looks like blue already knows that because they've already got a ward prepped and ready to go. Something I'm kind of surprised by is I would have figured Ziggs would fare a bit better into Victor mid. Granted, I haven't played mid religiously in quite some time, so I may be missing that one on how that's supposed to dive down. But I expected Ziggs to do a little bit better on there. We've got about 4 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes or so, actually 50 seconds for the next trade coming up. I always thought it was 6 minutes, but maybe I was completely wrong there. Still continuing trading both on each side, and we didn't get to see too much from the downtime for Vul. That level 6 is still coming up, and that Cyclone's still very, very powerful for them to go for. And I think something that's really important is K'Sante is pushed up pretty heavily here.
We're doing that thing that we always see for the first game, whether it's the first game of the season, first game of a best of 5, first game of a final. The teams are kind of downloading each other right now, trying to see what they can do. They're not going to really limit test right now. Varus, Leona, obviously they're very aware that they're going to get poked out, so they're not trying to take any risky trades. They do hit a Q here and there, so there's another monster Q that hits there, and then they try to trade back as best they can, but they're aware of this. They're okay with that. I know, -2 minions, I think, off that. That's so unlucky. But the first Drake has just now spawned, so the both of them here kind of just trying to, they know they're a loot priority. They're okay with that. It's a Chemtech Drake. It is something you can give up, like you mentioned. We can give up 2 Drakes at least, and that's perfectly fine. As something started happening up there top side. I guess really nothing came out of it, as we kind of left there just a wee bit quick. So not too much going on there, I suppose, but it's 5 minutes. We do have about 2.5 till Grubs sometimes in pro play. Oh, well, I guess they see Gwen there, so they should just realistically back off. Anyways, about now in pro play, we would typically see teams start swapping lanes if they feel like they're not in a good matchup or try to get some Grubs priority. Gwen is spotted here, so they are aware. They're walking up still right now, but Varus is trying to reset. This could be dangerous.
Come down on Leona. Someone's gonna take it down, and that's gonna be the first blood. DBZ going to Caitlyn. Killen has been very, very measured, has been very, very confident in their play game, poke after poke, and as soon as they saw the opportunity, as soon as they saw the stun, they absolutely nuked that Leona, and Leona is still a tough cookie to crack, but they found it, and they got to their first feat, and they're gonna turn that immediately into a Drake.
Indeed, just a little bit of a disrespectful walk up there from Triple Net. So I mean, I think you saw the Varus was resetting, so that's the time to kind of just back off with them, but just ended up getting caught by that route that you mentioned. You said it's very good when people get caught out, and that's exactly what it does. The gold goes to Caitlyn. She now has a BF sword, so that is good if you are the side of Khan right now. You're feeling really good about that start. Kind of keep up that momentum a little bit. So like you were saying, who starts the tempo going? So far, we got Vul a little bit. Was there in the bottom lane for that play, but didn't have to, but was there to turn it into a Drake. That also means they got the first objective for the monster slaying feat as well. That puts them in a good start. 600 gold now up ahead. This Caitlyn should have Tailwind done in the next few minutes if she keeps up this farming pattern. She's actually farming very well, despite, missing a few minions here and there, but 61 CS at 7 minutes is not bad, and you're feeling pretty good about where you are.
Absolutely, and we'll show them all at the very least did back and get his hands on a tier, so he's gonna have an easier time trading. Mana is such a big problem for Varus. I think in the early games, having the tier, I think he's gonna level that out. He's got some damage as well. Granted, Caitlyn has a BF sword and has 300 gold on him, which will be quite the nice back. She's got to be feeling happy with that.
There's the swap.
6, so she's gonna have a little bit of an empowerment there on that side. And exactly, just like you said, Caitlyn into K'Sante. I do really like this, but they've got to be very, very careful. However, Caitlyn has Karma in order to help them out, in order to deal with some of the shenanigans of K'Sante. And I think they've got time to sort of see this coming. Mordekaiser is seen in the bottom, so I think K'Sante is probably going to rotate at some point, unless he's going to go top.
Oh, that was unlucky.
Fire Mana going to get absolutely nuked and destroyed in the middle lane as Wukong, as Vul is able to find a little bit of gold on his end. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, actually giving it to Victor. I thought he was able to pick that up right there at the end, but even better. And now those Void Grubs, like I was talking about, are going to be so important. Vul, knowing that, I think, not wanting Ziggs to get their hands on it, just sort of gets rid of the threat early on, gets rid of Ziggs, because even when Ziggs is up and you're taking Void Grubs, that range can do a lot on his end.
2 kills, 2 objectives, 1 more of each, and then they end up clutching the feats. That's long before your first tower even becomes a factor. So this is really good tempo so far. Right now, as we saw from earlier, the swap, like you said, you know, deal with the K'Sante, you can bully him a little bit, but that also means like, hey, start moving around the map a little bit, Leona, so that way Varus can get some of this solo XP, catch up to this Caitlyn a little bit. I think that's a really decent call. And now the Leno's back here now, but you know, just kind of let Varus catch up just a little bit. Still down 10 CS, however. Now the gold lead is 1,000. So there are so there's this factor now coming in for the side of Sinset, because Caitlyn got first blood. Varus also has a kill, and wow, they were about to chip away at a couple of plates there up there on the top side. They did chip away at 2 actually, so just funneling more gold into this. And oh, hello, K'Sante hit that knockback there a little bit. I was like, oh boy, I thought they were going to decide to get a little spicy, but into K'Sante, it's still hard. But the good news is he has only M arsenal armor, so maybe, oh, they're back here to hit the tower. I thought they were going to reset, but they should have enough gold on this Caitlyn to be able to get her item. I think that's what should be having tailwind right now, and that's really good acceleration, especially for this AD carry that's going to need to be powerful in this game. Same with Victor, obviously, as well, having that Rod of Ages. Hold on a second.
K'Sante looking for an angle there on Broommaker, but unfortunately, nailing down Karma is going to be very, very hard to do. We do have Vul making a little bit of rotation, so K'Sante does need to be careful, and we are going to get Mordekaiser rotating their way back over here. Karma sticking around, maybe going to look for some sort of stun, but going into K'Sante is always really frightening to deal with, and we're going to get a full rotation, it looks like, back into the bot lane. Varus is already there. Leona's rotating.
Oh, he's here again.
Mid lane, Wukong going in once again.
There's the feat.
Locking down that Ziggs, and the feats of warfare. DBZ falls to Khan. Khan, very much so doing what I expected Sinset to do, which was set the tempo. And Khan's using their primary advantage, which is Caitlyn. They set the tempo in top lane by positioning that in order to give themselves an advantage for going for Void Grubs. And then to top it off, Vul made their way down to mid lane and took out that Ziggs, who is going to be a serious threat and probably the easiest game.
Okay, so am I about to witness feats of strength done pre 12 minutes? That is an incredibly fast feat now that I'm thinking about it, but we might get some more action down here.
Vul coming in, gonna pop his Cyclone here in a minute, but it looks like Leona does stop him right at the very end. Varus gets an easy
no. Good cleanse, TP.
And tries to lock him down, killing. Able to do a good chunk of damage. The TP coming in, K'Sante coming in with a chair, about to smack killing, about
nice
to
flash.
go for the Karma, but unfortunately both flashes come through. Not able to get their hands on too much, and somehow Khan is able to escape from that pincer maneuver. They played it so well. Their positioning, their confidence really came into play in that gank.
Wowie wow. All right, so Wukong has 3 assists. That's plates going over to Mordekaiser right now. Should be 2 because the TP was used. Didn't have TP to respond, but this means a lot of solo gold. I think they should give this Drake up. Let's not throw away our lead. Okay, cool. They have a 3,000 gold lead right now. K'Sante has to still reset. Does Mordekaiser stay? He might get the tower, I think, if he stays. Can we actually go back topside real quick? I don't think Broommaker's gonna do anything here. Oh yeah, that's his first tower. So there's feats of strength done, by the way. So they just got that just now because of that alone time. And Mordekaiser at the tower, but Gwen's back. No flash.
For an angle here on Kevin, trying to go forward and try to lock them down. They're so slippery to go for, and it looks like this is ultimately gonna be the death there for Killen. And Broommaker is the only one to make it out of that. Finally, Sinset gets their hands on some gold. Finally, they get a point on the board, DBZ.
Cool. All right, and the gold Gwen, where I'm pretty sure they wanted it to go to, Gwen getting that 500 gold shutdown. I believe she's close to having Nashor's Tooth, or does. We'll find out in just a second. But, oh yeah, she has Nashor's Tooth, so okay. So, just, okay. Never mind, I take that back. So she had Nashor's Tooth, but still, she's gonna be going fast towards her next item. Instead, you know, be a little stronger than be that, what I'm assuming is going to be the late game carry to have access to this back line, because Gwen is the only one, maybe K'Sante too, they're going to be the only ones that need to be able to get back to this Caitlyn, because if this Caitlyn has no flash like she did in that moment there, she's not going to be able to escape. Even if Karma potentially shields her, it only delays the inevitable, especially if they're more behind. But this looks like Karma is building AP, which will strengthen those shields. I actually like that call. I'm not gonna lie. So All right, I'm actually down with that call, but here on Vision is spotted out.
Maker stepped a little bit too far forward as Leona finds the stun, trying to lock.
Oh, he knocked her out of the ult.
Confident, looks like Zig popped him out right there.
Ah!
Able to do no damage because
Oh my gosh, she
able to
lived.
escape with just one shot. Dango now in danger. Victor now in danger as they try to
Flash.
lock him down.
Yeah.
He goes over the wall, sweetened to the brace of Broommaker, but it's not over just quite yet. His killing is
Wait, what the?
It is now stuck in mid lane and gonna get taken down by Super Beans. Gwen having 2 kills, absolutely putting the hammer on Killen. And something I think that's important to watch out here for Gwen is Gwen at some point is like flicking on a switch. They're able to do so much damage in 1v9 the whole team, and if they're not careful, Khan is gonna run into the exact scenario.
DD, we're just gonna smite this. Yeah, we are. Okay. Well, Bull should just walk out of this. Also got his jump. Wait,
Picking
he's
up a
fighting it.
stun. Decent trade back and forward. Vol having a lot of confidence in his champion and knowing what he can do. He also saw that Karma was making their way over there. I do feel like Karma is a tiny bit weaker than I'm used to seeing her. I'm still like a massive fan of her. And I think she adds a lot to the kit, but I don't think she's as strong as she used to be, especially in comparison to some of the other supports. I think Leona might be a tad bit stronger, but it's also different abilities in different ways, different kits, obviously, to do different things. So I don't know how that 1v2 would work down. I think it would favor Super Beans because it's perfectly fine for Leona to die if her team is able to get some kills. I think so many people forget that it's that sports are kind of like pawns, to where they can be very
Oh my god.
powerful. Bull looking for an angle right out here, trying to lock down the bars. Will show
He's
them
alive.
with just one little
He's
bit of
dead.
damage. There's a flash forward, and he does get him. He locks him under tower, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough to ignite. Still not able to take down Vul. Vul having a lot of confidence, and even though he took a couple more power shots than he needed, he was able to get out relatively unscathed. However, Shelly is going to fall to Sinset. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Sin at night. Sinset in the top lane.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess it's worth getting something out of it. The Rift Herald is fine. It's a trade of objectives, and you can break this mid lane tower open later if you want to, because the next dragon is available in about a minute 5's time, and it's split 1 to... Oh, I thought we were doing something funky, but Ziggs has flash now, so this is really risky to do. Oh, they're going for it, actually. And he...
Ultimate on Ziggs.
Excuse me?
Fireman taking a good chunk of damage. Just needs 1 or 2 more shots. But unfortunately, the slippery mage does manage to escape. Finally, one of the ganks was not successful into Ziggs. Ziggs probably got to be feeling happy about that one because he's already 0-2. Poor guy is struggling in these first couple of minutes, DBZ.
Did we ult too early on Caitlyn, I wonder? Maybe we ulted a little too early, or they were just trying to maximize the damage and give it to Victor anyways. Either way, I think that kill was totally gettable, but as the results of that, they do lose River Prio 22 seconds before this dragon is available. Lots of pings coming down, maybe lots of pings onto this Victor, who also has no flash if they spot him here in a second. Are we anticipating this move? Nope, we're not. I respect the play. All right, but that doesn't mean they get petition over the dragon. It'd be the second dragon of the game. Khan might be fine. Oh.
Coming in, but unfortunately he's going to get stunned.
Oh, there's the combo.
Absolutely locked down and
Holy.
by Leona going in, trying to find an angle there on Victor. Victor Dango absolutely in trouble. There should be another 2 kills here.
Nice.
For Sinset now 4-5, and the objective belongs to them. Their grouping, their execution is so powerful, and most importantly, Super Beans is going to be so powerful in this one. However, Khan's not going to take this line down as Caitlyn tries to go for another turret once again, dealing a good amount of damage directly into Cassandra.
Oh no!
Want to see how it looks like Esco going to come in, trying to buy themselves some time. The flashes come out in order to keep them alive. Leona looking for an angle, unfortunately not able to get their hands on Killen. Killen able to do decent damage and back and forward. Varus going in to try and mop things up on Bruce.
Oh, Ziggs is dead.
Mordekaiser is here by himself, but he can still manage to get his hands on a kill. He does ultimately die, but still, he saved 2 and traded. That's exactly what you want to see from Khan.
I'm sorry, did I say it was a 3,000 goal lead for Khan earlier? Yeah, no, that's now less than 1,000, so that's pretty neato speedo. We're not done.
Oh, Khan going in, looking for an angle here on Will. Show them all, gonna take them out.
Oh, wow,
it's
nice.
a matter of time. Gwen coming in to try and save the day, but it's too little too late to keep Varus up as he gets taken down and destroyed in the mid lane. And now they should have plenty of room here to siege the T1 in mid.
Okay, maybe not. There's a TP coming in right now, so they should just go ahead and back off. They got a couple of nice kills. Gwen survived, which is really funny. She doesn't have a shutdown right now, despite all the action she's been doing. That's because the gold gap is close so much in that time. Now I'm at the point where I say this could be anyone's game, to be honest with you, because for a moment there it was looking like 100% Con. They were in control. Then they made a few silly mistakes over the past few minutes to where now Sinset have 2 dragons. They have closed the gold gap. This Gwen is about to be out of control the moment that she starts doing Gwen things when that death cap is done. By the time that okay, the death cap's done, so never mind. There we go. So now she has a death cap 40 seconds before Otacon spawns, which means she can shred this Otacon down. As possibly something that that they might go for. I'm going to say this right now. I very much disapprove of Otacon calls when you don't know where everybody is. I think we should get a pick first. We have the combo. We saw it earlier for Sinset. Varus ults, Leona ults, Ziggs ults, and then Gwen presses R and everyone dies. That's the combo, but they're going for a fight.
Going over the wall, trying to
there it
down
is
on
again.
Brewmaker. Brewmaker going to get taken down, and that's going to give the number advantage that they need. Now Bull is on the chopping block as Ziggs gets isolated there in the mid lane, having to escape to the safety of his team, trying to buy some time in the mid lane. But either way, that is going to be another kill and hopefully an objective. However, you can't count him out. We still have Wukong, we still have Bull here for this fight, and I think Wukong has Cyclone, which is going to love the armor shred in this Otacon. But just like you were mentioning, DBC, look at it absolutely getting melted.
Yeah, still don't like them doing this though, because Bull could steal this at 6,000 HP. It's gonna be really close. Also, the Shadow Arm is available, but they're gonna fight.
They're gonna find an angle here on Killen, trying to lock them down, and yes, indeed, they're gonna be able to, and that's a dead Caitlyn. Once again, the number advantage increases even more.
Yep, in the Shadow Arm.
In the death.
Yep.
Bull actually steals the Otacon. Cyclops coming in, dealing a good chunk of damage. Bull trying to escape. Esco over here left his own devices, but ultimately the steal comes through. Ultimately, Bull is able to escape.
As like I said right before it happened, like the Shadow Realm's available. We have the Death Realm. Immediately takes the jungler out of the equation. That leaves Bull. Oh, okay, that leaves Bull to be able to get the Otacon. That's huge. That was absolutely disgusting the way that play turned out. And I know that's what the Mordekaiser was calling at the start. It's like, I have ult. We just take this. This is why I say, do not do the Otacon at this moment. And Sinset did exactly what I told them not to do.
I think really the big thing is, I think in these games, a lot of people see that Wukong, or not Wukong, to say that Otacon says, please don't take me, and they take it as a personal challenge, and they go in there, and it gets turned around so many times. We see it with Wukong, we've seen it with Jarvan. Jarvan's really great at stealing it, Wukong's really great at stealing it, and then Jarvan on top of that will have the additional armor shred paired with Otacon, and people will still go, oh, okay, there's just a Wukong and Jarvan on the other side. This is a good time to go for it. But I do see the mindset, DBZ. They were able to get grab a kill, and they were able to grab a second kill, but unfortunately, they just weren't able to get their hands on Vul. If they had been able to get their hands on Vul, I don't think they would have been able to steal that. Either way, it happens, and that's an Otacon going to the side of Khan. We're sitting at 8-7 now, and about 22 minutes inside the game. Gold pretty much tied up.
Yeah, pretty much tied up right now, and we have an Ocean Drake coming up in the next 20 seconds. This will be Sinset's soul point if they get it. Got a lot of this is the poke also I was talking about. Varus and Ziggs are going to excel at this, but they want mid lane prio instead, and I think that's a good call, and the ulti unfortunately doesn't kill the wave, so they will secure this tower. That's extra gold that was over. This poke is doing its thing almost. It's just they're not quite landing those abilities. You see that sidestepping there. It's like they anticipate this was going to happen. You just have to be able to play this dodgeball. We see it all the time. That's where vision is important.
Seizing an opportunity, gonna go in, popping the clone. Unfortunately, kind of a false. Expected a lot more there, but they need to get more poke off. Khan really needs to try to take them down. Super try to go for the Drake instead, but there's another opportunity for them to go inside. Bull, but unfortunately, it gets locked down. Finally, Trip able to go in and deal a good chunk of it. Still, Wukong knocked down person is person. Victor able to do plenty of arrow denial, and all that is left is, it looks like, 2 on the side at Sinset, and no, it might turn into a 4th one, as we'll show them all gets tracked down, sniped by Caitlyn, and ultimately killed by Vul. Vul sitting at 3-1. Victor sitting at 3-1, and the gold's very heavily spaced out here on the side of Khan, and Khan has so much pressure they can apply. Those Void Grubs doing a lot of work for them for sure.
And just as you said too, the Void Grubs, that's what helped them secure mid lane tower so quickly, so that way they were not caught in that little bit of poke war that ended up going on. Took a lot of damage there onto the Kaelin from the Zigzag, but they must go ahead and get that reset. So they got the Drake, sure, for Sinset, but the fight belongs to Khan. Like you said, that gold lead just not exactly exploded, but it massively grew in just that short amount of time. Now the caveat to that is Sinset is now on soul point, so the gold in retrospect is about almost even in terms of raw stats anyways, which is why these fights are so close every single time. And I have to say, this is some really good League of Legends coming out of both these teams. Like, objectively, Sinset I think has better control. We're being annoying on the Karma, but objectively I think Sinset has a better control, minus the grubs in the first trick that was lost. But since then they've been kind of on track with these objective timers. We have Baron coming up in the next 25 seconds, but I don't anticipate we'll fight for it. We might go for a pick.
Oh, the stun comes down on Bull. Bull gonna get locked down. 2 stuns, one immediately leading the other one as they go down about half HP. Super Beans trying to follow up.
Oh, that damage.
Chunk of damage.
He's dead.
Unfortunately, not able to do it, but she does prevent the escape for Bull. That was actually, unironically, a zoning ultimate there from Fire Mana.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that opens up the Baron right as I was talking about it. It's like we're probably going for a pick if we're Sunset here, and this opens up the Baron. There's still a lot of damage on their side though, so they could definitely contest this if they want to. There's no smite, however, so there might just be a turn and burn from the side of Sunset right now. They're doing some poke damage, but this is Baron's basically gone. They have no vision to go for this.
Karma does throw an ultimate down their way, but it really just doesn't matter. You mentioned how quickly Super Beans was able to nuke down objectives, and it's only getting stronger. Baron barely existed there, giving another objective, and most importantly, denying that Baron to the other side. Really, a lot of back and forward. Khan looked in some serious control, but I think the biggest thing here for Khan to point out is Vul seems to be the tip of the spear for his entire team. He is the entire tempo setter for Khan as an overall, and when he's not in position, when he's not able to get vision or whatever it is, they really seem to struggle, like we saw with that Baron fight. There wasn't a lot of vision down. The vision war was definitely in the side of Sinset, just not able to get what they want. Vul might actually be in a little bit of trouble here as Super Beans coming around on the other angle. Missing a super close one, but still gonna find the stun ultimately right there at the end. Is locking down. Now directly into the Cassante. However, the flash is good, and somehow escape with the fight still ongoing.
Oh, he's dead.
Able to get a decent amount of damage, followed into a shutdown there by Killing, and the chase is on. There's 2 on the menu, and 5 going for it. They're trying to find their angle. Leona gets stunned there in the background. Cassante gonna pick up kills on Killing, trying to pick it up 2 kills. And it's not over just quite yet, because Fire Mana will show them all are here for the reinforcements to boost up their team, ultimately saving the Cassante. Nice even trade, and I think a lot of that had to do with Cassante.
That champion's not fair. He's just flashing and nuking Caitlyn and Karma. I need the Showmaker Guppy Pasta right now. I need it right now, because that was a prime display of that champion. He has no damage items. He has no damage items, but completely carrying that fight. I thought it was doomed, I'm not gonna lie, for Sinset there. But Cassante doing Cassante things, and then all of a sudden it's like, I guess we just win the fight. But they did lose a couple of Barons that stopped their tempo as well. And now this means this Baron was kind of wasted, but they do have Ocean Soul coming up. Oh, we're fighting again.
Ash coming out, Bull going in, looking for an angle. Unfortunately,
here's Victor.
Instead, Ziggs blowing his ultimate once again. Super Bean's gonna find an angle there on Exo. Mordekaiser maybe overstaying his welcome. He is able to do damage.
Yep.
He is no Cassante, gonna get taken down. The number advantage on the other side. Cassante gonna find an angle here on Broommaker. Broommaker gonna get destroyed, and that's a double kill for Super Beans right before the objective has started. This is not a fight they could afford to lose, because this is Soul Point.
Yep, and this should be their soul. unless we do something psycho. Nope, Wukong's actually willing to give it up. This will be the mid lane tier 2, maybe the bot lane tier 2 after this as well, if they want. I guess maybe top tier 2, or maybe they'll reset as a whole. But the Ocean Soul is the grand prize. That is a really massive buff. They're up gold now, but with this Ocean Soul, it's gonna feel like a bigger gold lead because of all that extra healing that they're going to have. Even right now, you see it. They're healing a lot right now. There's really no heal cut on the other side for Khan right now. We're at that point where, in my eyes, it's getting a little doomed. It's not a disaster, but it's looking a little doomed. But I think Khan can still pull this out if they play their cooldowns right. They still have a lot of bursts that they can do. They just have to get through the billion health K'Sante first. But this has been an incredible first game for both of these teams.
And something I wanted to mention there is when the fight was won and they were up with plenty in order to take the objective, we got 3 going in the mid lane in order to take that tower to apply that pressure. And in the whole time, TripleNet was just on Vol the entire time, allowing Gwen to not have to worry about the Wukong coming in and stealing their objective, securing that objective even more. And that's something that's a little bit of coordination I love to see here from each side. They know how important it is to keep that Wukong off, and they found those plenty of angles and got their hands on not only 1 but 2 objectives. And the pressure in mid is going to be really strong.
Oh, okay, we're poking a little. We're poking a little bit. Got our Conqueror Brox. There's really nothing to do right now. Because at the moment it's like Baron's up, not up for another minute 30, and then we have Elder, but I don't think this game's gonna make it to Elder. I think we're in for like one more fight because we're getting a lot of. We haven't really talked about items much actually. Since I said that Gwen got her death cap, there's a lot of really powerful power spikes across the board. Gwen has Horizon Focus now, by the way, for whatever reason. And that is a K'Sante with 2.5 items, working on what I'm assuming is Jackshow third. You have a 3-item Ziggs who's nuking these towers. Yep, there's Ziggs being annoying from halfway across the map.
Imagine him with
and Varus has
gloves.
3 items. Yeah, like, everyone has their strong suits right now, and they're healing through it all.
It means the poke is no longer going to be as effective as it was for Khan, which really hits Karma right in the family jewels. I've got to imagine a lot of that early poke's going to be so important. Karma getting really close. I felt the anxiety from it, but ultimately she's got plenty of movement speed back and forward. Taking a look at the vision score, really seems to be favoring TripleNet. It's 87.
Oh, wait, Mordekaiser.
Oh? Just hammering down the bot lane while everyone's lying.
Wait, when did that happen? We were so locked in on the top side of the map. It's like, oh, by the way, Mordekaiser's in their base, but it's gonna get chased down. But this could be the final play of the game, depending on how this fight goes.
Baron up in 5 seconds, though. Khan does have an angle to go ahead and move in and take that Baron, or try to get what kills where they can. Mordekaiser taking a good chunk of damage here from Super Beans as he ultimately does get taken down. This might be just enough time here for Khan in order to get their hands on
that TP.
And they're going to have to get out just in time. Here comes K'Sante coming in looking for an angle. Hopefully, at this point, Khan has managed to bake themselves out. Super Beans still pretty far behind, and the objective ultimately is not going to go to them. I appreciated that, but the TP came down. They got to worry about K'Sante, and Sinset might just take it in return.
Okay, so they do this really quick, remember, and they have no vision right now. Excellent vision toggle by our observer. Thank you. They do not see this. Like, they see it right there, but they have to kind of guess. Bull has to do something to take this. It's at 5,000 right now. That's a massive ult.
Bull gonna go in, able to do a good chunk of damage, trying to lock people down, but K'Sante is a tough nut. Controlling behind Super Beam.
The Gwen
looking for a good chunk of damage of their own. Zhonya's popped right immediately in the stun there by Varus. Varus able to take a shutdown there. Super Beam's TP coming there in the top lane. K'Sante duking out, dishing him a good chunk of damage. Varus trying to poke them down, but that Soul is doing so much work here for Khan, trying to lock them down. It looks like they are still going to lose. There comes the ultimate there for Caitlyn, but ultimately it's not going to do too much. That Soul really just didn't have the effect that they needed to. Bull going in, but they get knocked out immediately. Baron is up, but I don't think they have the HP here to take it, DBZ.
Wait, okay, so I thought that Soul would do a lot more work than it did, because that was a massive Ziggs ultimate that landed onto 4 people and absolutely nearly destroyed their health bars. But Super Beans got a little too lost in the sauce, I think, with that last play. Ended up going down in Zhonya Zig, and Caitlyn's like, "It's free real estate for the Trebs, bud," and then just dies immediately. And from there wasn't that much damage left, because Ziggs wasn't landing too much stuff after that point. K'Sante got absolutely one pumped by the Caitlyn and the Karma, I think. So I just kind of watched his health bar just disintegrate for whatever reason. But what a banger of a game that we have on our hands right now. 33.5 minutes in. The gold is 300. It's 16-16. We have Elder in 41 seconds. We have Baron on the other side of the map. We're going neutral objective for neutral objective, and I wonder who's going to get the Elder Drake first.
Well, and I think that area denial that I was talking about is proving to be a lot of the downfalls for plenty of these fights, where Sunset does start off very, very strong, but they run into Karma, they run into Cyclone. Cool, maybe overstaying his welcome, but it is going to go over the wall on his end. And Victor is a key part of watching all of that. He's had pretty good stun after pretty good stun on top of very, very powerful ultimates. He's sitting at 5-1, while Wukong is sitting at 5-2, but it looks like Full stepped up a little bit too close, going down to about half HP. Ziggs dealing a little bit of damage right there at the end, and 4 seconds on the clock for this Elder to come up, DBZ.
That's a massive cooldown to burn too. The Cyclone is now down. All they gotta do is push these waves in, so it looks like they're gonna threaten the Baron, but Gwen can do this on her own, and I think the rest of the team can stop them from doing this. This is absolutely gonna be amazing, I think, in the next few seconds. So the Elder Drake is gonna go down, but do they burn the Baron fast enough?
I would beat this. I would turn this into a fight here for Khan, because you don't see Gwen, and you can probably assume
right
that Gwen gonna take it immediately. Nashor about less than half HP. Cassandra go in, ultimately locked down by Leona. So much damage back and forth. Leona gonna go directly into the fray. Ball is curling behind K'Sante, trying to lock down Killen. Finally gonna get grabbed there by Leona. That's a double kill on the K'Sante. We'll show them all. Picking up a kill there on Caitlyn. And Khan absolutely falling to pieces, down 3, and now the siege has begun. Baron ultimately fell to Khan, but at what cost, DBZ? At what cost?
Potentially at the cost of their Nexus. As Gwen can go forward, this is more kills waiting for them.
Super Beans getting so close to getting his hands on the Victor, but ultimately it just was not going to happen. The minions weren't there, the support wasn't there, and this Victor is so slippery. But you might just be right, DBZ. This could be over for Khan. That gray screen is really powerful. 13 seconds on the clock before Wukong even makes his way back up.
Yep.
Oh, wave going down. K'Sante coming in. Gonna look for an angle here on Dingle, but ultimately it just doesn't matter as the fountain turrets fall. The Nexus goes down, and the first point goes to Sunset. Sunset, really a lot of back and forward. I was worried about them early on, but they found their tempo, they found their rhythm, and most importantly, they downloaded the moves of the other side.
They started that game about 5 or 6 minutes, or no, it was like 10 minutes or something. They were down 3,000 gold at one point. Then they were up 1.5k, and then they were down gold again. My friend, we just had an LPL gold graph in AEL. We actually had an LPL gold graph, and that is what I'm talking about. Both these teams had control, but unfortunately, when they fell into the Ocean Soul hole, it meant for the side of Khan that they had to fight for these objectives, because if you give one up, the Ocean Soul is just going to do too much work, and they're going to arrive healthy. And we saw that. We saw Gwen soloing the Elder, and they felt like they had to do the Baron at that point, because both neutral objectives would have definitely made game over. But unfortunately, by the time the Elder was taken, then the rest of the team engaged. They got the Baron, but lost the Nexus at the end of the day. And now Khan is up. Now Sunset is up. Sorry, Sunset is up 1-0 in this series, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely, DBZ. And keep in mind, everybody watching, that is only game number 1 of this best of 3 Fearless in AEL. We're going to run a quick ad break because Twitch makes us and we don't have a choice. So give us a couple of minutes. We're going to blow through that and we'll be right back because nobody likes ads during the action. Thank you.
日本にはまだある？
急がないと在庫があるのはそこだ。遅かった。そう そのフィギュアを一つだけ譲ってくれんやろか。
お前はだよ、同志じゃねえか。もちろん取引しようや。
ありがとう、全マーケット。
Try to make yourself remember, darling. Don't look for me, I'm just a story you've been told. So let's pretend a little longer, 'cause when we're gone, everything goes on. You were staring at the window, and I said I wanna take you to the sea. And when I'm better, we'll do everything. I gotta stop making promises I can't keep. But if I was gone tomorrow, won't the waves crash on? Is it selfish that I'm as we pass the setting sun.
The ads are done, and we are back, DBZ, for another game. This game number 2. You got any predictions going into this one?
I don't know. See, because of how close that last game was, if I get 2 more games of that, I will be very happy. That is a really fun way to start off the season, especially with a close game like that, not a complete blowout. So both these teams are on equal footing. Mind you, this is week 1, so obviously these teams have something to prove, and they want to start off with a win. That's how bad that they want, and I'm excited for where this could go for draft for game 2, which, mind you, we're in Fearless. So we don't get those comps again. It means we get new comps, and that means we get new styles, which also means we get new execution ideas, so on and so forth. And Khan is going to be on blue side this game. Sinset is going to be on the red side, which means they're going to be the ones that get the counter pick. And I'm curious what they can do with that counter pick. It looks like they're pretty comfortable with top side, playing those tanks like I mentioned, I believe. I did not mention that actually, but it is in my cheat sheet that their top laner does.
I heard it.
Okay, well, that's fine. But I was saying, top laner loves playing tanks basically, and like they're really good on them. We saw that in the previous game, and I can't even say K'Sante plays himself because that champion just does whatever he wants. But we're sticking with the Aurora band. The Jinx band makes a lot of sense. Like I mentioned earlier, Jinx has been a typical first pick in like games 2 or 3 of series. We've even seen it in like 4 and 5 as well. We haven't really she hasn't really changed much, but that it's like she's still a really strong hyper carry that is really popular, obviously, and she's a lot of fun to watch as well. But we're getting the Cho'Gath there. I honestly don't think too many of the bands will change. Maybe we'll get Jax open this time. Maybe it really depends on what these teams decide they want to do. I'm really curious. But the first pick here, so we saw poke comp from Khan in the last game. Maybe we do something like a little more sustained damage, you know, go towards more of you know, picks like am I blanking already? No, since that was the one that played the poke comp last game. Just kidding. Okay, see, I'm already getting my sides confused. That's how intense that first game was. It's like both these teams are just such on an equal level, but we're getting
I think you were right, because Khan was red side, and they had Caitlyn, they had Karma, right, and because of course the sides are swapped. So I think you were right. Khan indeed was the poke side, while Sin did have a good amount of poke in the terms of Ziggs and Varus. So I mean, I guess you could say both were pokey. Jack, just like you were talking about, Sivir here for a first pick, which means Khan is expecting once again to play behind, is expecting to sort of buy themselves some time, because Sivir is still the strongest 4-item hyper carry in the game, and that's an angle that they can shoot for. And I think, and I think that's something Jax can help make their way over to it. The picks for the other side are going to be Aphelios, which I'm a big fan of. I've got a buddy of mine that is like the Masters GM level, that's a ADC main, and his favorite is Aphelios, and he'll always talk about Aphelios. And the way he explains Aphelios is even more so than a lot of the other champions, is like, you got to have a chess mindset. You got to know what you've got now and what you're going to have in the future, and what you could potentially have, and how you can do that, and how your team's going to deal with that. So it's something to watch out for.
Pick an enchanter here. Interestingly, a combo that I've been seeing with Aphelios recently is Janna. Aphelios Janna is something that I've been seeing a lot recently, because we don't have the Karma anymore. Not like it was highly necessary. Lulu is also an option as well, but you are into Braum. That's something you have to keep in mind. But with Volibear, assuming, I'm 99% sure this is Volibear jungle, it could be Volibear top. Okay, so there's the Lulu. Okay. There's one of the options I was thinking that they would go with. Yeah, either one would have been fine. I like both. Both would have been just fine. But Lulu, I think, provides a lot more annoyance, I would say, towards this Braum and Sivir. She can bait out the spell shield a lot better than the Janna, because, you know, Janna, if you get a little close, you have to try to land the tornado, and Sivir will intentionally walk in the tornado. But Lulu has the polymorph, and that could pretty much stop Braum from shielding Sivir. That can stop Sivir from being able to pop their ultimate. And it's honestly really good drafting. Now, on the other side, we have, for bans rather, we have mid lane bans coming out of Sinset. And then, as expected, annoying Jax matchups coming out, from the side of Khan. set in Mundo make a ton of sense. Talia is interesting here because Volibear Talia is a very fun combo. It's either, you know, Vi Talia or Volibear Talia. He stuns, she flips, they do a lot of damage. And we saw in the previous game how good Sinset are with combos. So trying up another one for them. Aphelios can also do the R Infernum ultimate thing and just kill everybody. So I think they're trying to set up their AD carry for success to be the hyper carry in this game, unlike in the previous game, it was more utility based. But ooh, Lux into Talia, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, I love that matchup. Lux has the range advantage over Talia. Still isn't mobile, so is still susceptible to actually getting caught out. But I like the pick. From there, I would assume we're going to pick jungle, assuming this is not Jack's jungle, because I don't think Jack's jungle is very good. And I'm actually surprised Khan's going to potentially save your jungle pick for last. I guess you see you're into the Volibear. Xin Zhao was banned away, so obviously can't pick that. Vi is still available. Okay, there's Graves. I think I do remember in Khan's jungler pool that, yep, Graves is their top late champion. So Vul is whipping that out for this game. And that means they're laying it all on the line. The only thing is there's not a lot of front line right now. It's just Braum, yes, but that leaves him very susceptible to being, you know, being very squishy. And if Sinset want to, they could draft a tank top side, something like Malphite if they want to. Poppy is another great example. So there's a lot of nonsense that Sinset can do in this game. But that Poppy's gonna be a problem for sure.
And sort of thinking about the Poppy and the Talia, this is really great into a lot of dash, which we don't have in mid lane because Lux doesn't have escapability or anything like that. On the hunt, not really affected by Poppy or Talia too much. But I think Braum's leap forward is affected by that, if I remember correctly. I know Graves' dash is affected by it, but I feel like Poppy might be a bit of a wasted pick. But Poppy's not just that one part of her kit. I really, really enjoy Poppy jungle and Poppy top. I prefer Poppy jungle in my opinion because the ganking potential is extremely frightening, and there's just so many angles for them to play off of, so many angles for them to pin people into the wall. And as someone who plays a good amount of Poppy, I always really, really love to see it you know, pop off, no pun intended. But what do you think? Do you think this is going to be Volibear top and Poppy jungle, or do you think this is going to be Poppy top and Volibear jungle?
I think it would actually be better if it was Poppy jungle. There's a lot more obnoxiousness that she can provide across the map. Volibear top, this, I would hope that we're gonna do more of a bruisery Volibear build and not the, I think it's the Cosmic Drive into Flicker Blade. I'm not a terrible fan of that build. They need a little bit more beef to counter, to play with that Poppy. So two big beef balls running at them, and you know it's gonna be a really hard time killing them. But I mean, unless Sivir makes it to 4.5 items, and then by that point it'll be kind of a story. So we're playing the long game for sure, because Lux is pretty bursty. Graves is gonna kind of start falling off unless he, you know, becomes that beef ball. So it's actually it is the Poppy top and the Volibear jungle, as you were saying. So what does that change your expectations for how this game's gonna, or how this matchup's gonna play out?
Honestly, I would have loved it in reverse. So yes, I would say, not that Poppy top can't be really powerful. I think she can still be very powerful in every lane, but I think where she shines the most, in my opinion, is in support and in jungle. She can do decent work top, but she needs that mobility, right? And when you have jungle Poppy, you have the mobility. You have this freedom range to go and mess up any lane you want. And the same thing is true with support. People forget how powerful a roaming support at the right time is, and Poppy very much so can do that. Volibear he's great if you have like a single line and you just want to chase someone down. I think Riot did a really good job with him, where they made a bear simulator inside League of Legends, because it very much so is what it feels like to be a bear when you're playing Volibear. But you know, you can also get absolutely taken out when you go in. And the thing though too is, if Dongo on Lux is playing Lux correctly, he's going to be saving his Q, his stun, for people aggressing into him. And what does Volibear like to do? He likes to run in a straight line directly at you into a Q, and then running into Braum stuff. I think Volibear's really going to struggle as a jungler, but there's an opportunity for me to pull it around if he can dodge that Q. If Dongo isn't doing that Q in the way that they need to, there's a lot of good work there. But the other thing though too with Poppy top is Poppy's going to be playing not necessarily a front line, but front line-ish or front line adjacent, or or maybe trying to go for those back lines. And both Sivir and Braum have a lot in their kit in order to do that. And unless top lane gets fed, if I remember correctly, I believe jungle typically has more gold and ready to go. And if Poppy was that jungler, they would have more angles and more tools to play with for free farm and had time to come online. And I just don't think we're going to have that. So, but you know, Sinset could prove me wrong here, DBZ.
Hey man, they're in the kitchen cooking, and we're just the customers waiting for the food. That's what we are. We're just watching to see how they're gonna cook up this meal for us coming into this second game. Looking forward to see what can happen. And while we got some time, we can go ahead and take ourselves a little bit of a short break. And when we come back, we'll be
Here we go, everybody. The draft is done. The ads are over, and we are diving into game number 2 on the blue side. We have Khan sitting at 0 points and Sinset picking up the first kill, the first point in the last game. Going into a little bit of a 4-man stack as Sivir rotates in the bottom lane. They do have Braum, so this is an angle to go for.
Makes a lot of sense, but should. No, I thought they were going to get a Raptor Ward down, but they, like I say, opted not to. They want to use Braum Q to their advantage. You know, get a little bit of chip damage onto someone, maybe even go for the cheeky first blood as well. I'm really curious. Really curious what Graves build we're gonna get out of this. We have the fleet footwork right now. There's the Raptor Ward I was talking about earlier. So there's that information that they might get depending on if Beans walks through that pathway. Really. Okay, so I see press the attack on Volibear. Are we really gonna do that Cosmic Drive build? I'm not a fan of that build at all. Sure, Volibear does a lot of damage and gets a lot of healing from it, but I don't like how burstable he is. And I feel like with the way that this could potentially work out, depending on what Graves is building, Lux for sure, when she starts getting some items, she's gonna absolutely blow up this Volibear, and that's gonna be very interesting to see. But it's gonna be a while before we get to that point. We're just barely getting started with the first game down. The bottom lanes are going to interact. A little bit of chip damage here. We've got Grasp with the Undying on both Poppy and Jax. I mean, Poppy makes a lot of sense. Jax does as well. They're gonna be able to stack them pretty easily, just right there. Nice little Grasp, Brock, Brack, and the fourth. We're in for a long one, I think. Usually, if you pick Sivir, the game is not gonna be like 20 minutes long. We're going about 35 to 40 minutes usually with a Sivir on your team. It also depends on how accelerated she is, to be fair, but that 4-item power spike that we've memed about for like 10 years now still plays relevance to this day. When Sivir hits that 3 to 4 item breakpoint, she just becomes absolutely obnoxious and tons of damage. But we do have the Aphelios on the other side of this matchup, where if he gets to a point where he also gets 3 items, he will just absolutely blow up some of these squishier members on the side of Khan later into the game. We're talking like when he has IE hits that power spike, and if we show them all, we will show them all. It's just out of control, and this game is definitely going to be leaning towards Sinset for sure.
Well, something that's nice to see here is we'll show them all in triple net are having a night and day difference between their early game. Varus really got bullied early on, which was we'll show them all from the other side. He really got bullied early on by killing on Caitlyn, and that's not the case right now. And it's understandable because you've got an Aphelios and a Lulu. Lulu has such an insane amount of poking power early game. As soon as she hits that level 2, the EQAA combo does an insane amount of work. It can outpoke any other enchanter support that I know of. Just the damage is absolutely devastating, and we're seeing a little bit of here. Not necessarily that full combination, but even just getting parts of that off make a big difference. And one of the big things too is Braum likes to play into melee supports and doesn't do well into enchanters, and I think that we're seeing this right here. I would have preferred Janna from my angle. Jack's gonna get the lockdown there on Zizzy. Zizzy gonna have to worry about Graves coming in. Fortunately, the camera switched away just in time. Smoke turn gonna come down as they go down about half HP. No more stun just quite yet. 2 more shots. 1 more shot is all it would have taken, but Poppy just kind of casually walks away.
Got a nice little bit of extra durability thanks to the Grasp of the Undying, and also Thorian's shield putting a lot of work is there. And that's why you pop your pots at the start of a fight, so that way you can heal some of that up. Oh, whoa, 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 what are we doing?
CZI getting a little bit too close, having to blow a flash on their way backwards. However, Super Beans here for the rescue. Gonna try to find an angle here on Volo. Volo gonna take a bit of damage here from the Baron, having to back off at the very least. And Poppy getting so close to death. Fire Mana still struggling in the mid lane into their lane opponent. Really having a hard time into Dongo for sure. I think DBZ called that out earlier.
That's a psycho TP, what?
Oh, Poppy immediately into danger. He's going to trade back and forward into Jax. Jax is going to be happy about taking this as long as he doesn't die. He's going to come out ahead because he hasn't TP'd back just yet. So any damage Poppy takes, she's not going to be able to recover because she does not have any pots. She might have biscuits, but I didn't see her full build.
Oh, and we missed the cannon too. That's actually terribly unlucky. Now, maybe I understand why Poppy had to TP there. Maybe CZ would notice the situation, the way he was pushing against him. It's like I have to TP to this to get this this experience back. Now they're down 13 CS right now, still taking a lot of damage. No flash to call for a cheeky combo, but kind of depends on who hits 6 first. Volibear is coming as well. Maybe they get a reset off. Yeah, they do see him and they do ping him out, but turret plate was taken in the bottom lane. So right now, we're not seeing too much of the fighting department of that little bit of a scuffle from earlier. I think Graves is going to farm up just a wee bit with Graves. So it looks like we have the Dirk. So I'm assuming this is... Oh, hello, I missed the flip.
Dengo gonna get flung back directly into the Volibear. Unfortunately, it's just not gonna be enough as Graves comes in to do a little bit of damage. CZI still trading heavily back and forward into the Jax. Jax taking a good chunk of damage. It looks like Poppy might be able to find some sort of angle, but unfortunately, the cooldowns were in full effect and weren't able to follow it up too much, and you can never count Jax out entirely. And I think that was a lot of control there from CZI.
Really? Okay. I thought we were going to get something a little cheeky, but I do think that Vul will pick up the kill here. Now, there's that TP advantage you were talking about, so they can make a dive here while the Drake is being taken on the other side of the map. That is the Cloud Drake that is taken. All she has is a tier, and that is a Jax with a Sheen, so that is one strong guy. Now, she does have the ultimate available, so the Keeper's Verdict is available. If she decides to go for it, is aware of this play. Talia could be there. She is 6, mind you. Gonna go for the wave, but it should be just dying here.
Vul looking for an angle.
Oh,
One shot left on the Poppy. The ultimate does come, buying herself a little more time, but I think it's gonna not really matter too much. Esco just barely able to get out of there. Vul able to provide a good amount of pressure, pushing the Poppy directly where the Jax wanted them to be.
And that was the punish of burning that TP and having to burn it so far up into the lane. He was able to let Jax build a wave there. And then as Graves is coming over, they go for that dive because Poppy has no TP. She dies here. That was a lot of experience that she was going to lose there. I believe it did so. So now that is first blood over to the Jax, which is more gold towards that Triforce, and also gold onto the Graves as well, which again, assuming this is collector being built first, he's going to be very happy about that extra bit of gold as well. And that does mean that Poppy's a little set behind. Does have the Bramble Best, so it's not entirely the end of the world, only down 10 CS. And the game pretty much started out this exact same way in the previous game anyways, where Khan started out with a little bit of a lead. Now it's just getting them to transition that lead and just start snowballing it, I would think, a little bit. Now is the time with that Jax being ahead. This means we can angle ourselves toward these grubs, and then in 3 minutes maybe angle ourselves towards this next tree, because it looks like we might be doing something cheeky. Okay, they were thinking about they are going to do something cheeky. Nope, they don't. That was a little close there, but not too much to come out of that. But Void Grubs are available. There's a lot of movement up towards this top side of the map.
Absolutely, DBZ, and Top is still there. Poppy is still there. Poppy no longer has their ultimate, so they got to watch out for that killing directly into Maul. Ophelia able to do a lot of good early damage, getting so close. But unfortunately, barely missing the ultimate as the Void Grove battle has begun. First one down, but it looks like Khan is not going to take this lying down. Esco running directly into Firemana. The Q is missed there by the other side. Poppy able to deny Jax.
Oh, this Luxol
comes in, denied even more so. Luxol doing a good chunk of damage. The exhaust coming down on Superbeam. Superbeam's got to worry about it. Taking so much damage, is going to get knocked out. However, the damage is still going back and forth as Khan is able to dish out and deal a good chunk. The feats of warfare going to the help of Graves. Graves trying to dash them down, trying to take them out. The Braum passive coming in there, but unfortunately, the rest of Sinset is able to escape. And unfortunately for Khan, they're able to pick up the lion's share of the grubs, turning that fight around, getting the feats of warfare, getting some gold, and getting ahead in this game number 2, DBZ.
Pretty much the previous exact start as the previous game. Lots of gold going on to the Graves, as we mentioned. That carry jungler that we were saying that Vul likes to play, getting injected a lot of gold there, and 2 of the grubs as well. They completed the feats of warfare, just as you mentioned. Also, that puts them in a really nice position. They're 5, 6. Oh no, never mind. I cannot math. That is well over 1,500 gold. Just kidding. Math is hard. And now what they need to do is keep this lead up. They made a few silly mistakes in the previous game that allowed Sinset to come back into the game. And if they can just rectify those mistakes from game 1, I think we're in for a pretty shiny, oh, hello. Oh, I guess he's
Speaking of
dead.
shiny, Super Beans going to find an angle here on Jax. Poppy coming in to try to get some of the kill. Super Beans trying to play the good guy
There's no
play
flash.
and give the kill to
Nice.
CZ. But ultimately, it looks like Super Beans able to get their hands on it. I don't think that's the worst thing. We've seen what Super Beans can do with some gold, and so maybe some gold on the Volibear can help turn a lot of these fights around. And I think Volibear got really close with their ultimate right there. They did a good chunk of damage, just unfortunately they didn't have too much to follow it up. So finally, a point on the board here for Sinset.
And we're doing that Volibear build I hate, but we might fight this actually. This Velios is really strong. I'm not. Oh wow, that was actually a lot of chunk damage.
Phileos running out of mana though in this fight, as Braum is just able to deal a good chunk of that. The Q lands pretty good there on Volibear as he takes the combination from Lux directly to the face. As Killen is allowed to sort of just push in this wave and keep up with the gold, keep up with the CS of their side. It's 90 to 97. No kills on either side. So Sivir's got to be feeling pretty happy. Aphelios is very, very scary, I think, early on, especially when you are playing Sivir. And the fact that Killen doesn't have any deaths and they're up on, not up on CS, they're close to the same amount of CS. They've got to be feeling good about that because this is going to help them get even closer to their goal, which of course is that 3 to 4 item spike.
Let's also think about that play from earlier where Velios forced the flash out of Sivir in the 1v1 that happened down there in the bottom lane. So she still does not have that, but no, probably not going to matter too much. The dragon is now alive. We can. We're actually invading first before we do that. But this should be the next dragon gets taken. I think if you're Sinset, you're willing to. Oh, okay. I thought we got that for some reason. But we can give up this Drake. Let them have it. Split the dragons. It doesn't matter. It was. I think the first Drake was not exactly 5 minutes, anyways. But it does not allow any kind of sort of dragon stacking to happen. So we will once again have one of these teams having 3 Drakes. I think you're fine right now too with giving the sub. You'd rather have Aphelios have his first item, maybe fight over Rift Road in a few minutes, as Poppy is going to catch up with Jax.
Poppy unfortunately not going to get the stun into the wall. Jax does get the stun on them as that fight sort of turns into a bit of a nothing burger, and that's a good news for the Jax because Volibear, because Super Beans was there waiting around the corner to dish out and deal some damage. Finally getting a decent amount of wave cleared here for Sivir. Sivir's got some items out and ready to go, so they can push this wave quite heavily. I think that's the one big advantage they have on Aphelios because I don't think they can beat him right now. Super Beans coming in, maybe looking for an angle, but Jax is a hard cookie to pin down.
He's trolling him right now. Look at him BMing in the river, but they're actually fighting now. Okay, it's like he's BMing him. What are we doing? Graves is there in the area.
Gank for Vol.
Yeah. Okay, they see him though, but should just walk away till he was roaming over. Oh, we missed the fight in the bot lane. I guess the Braum is dead.
Absolutely, yeah. We were watching the mini-map too much as Braum goes down in the bot lane. Unfortunately for him, Sivir's still up though, so she can keep holding off the wave. It's 100 CS to 122, so unfortunately Sivir's down about 200 gold. I guess even more so, 500 gold now.
I don't think he wins this. Oh, he's
Looking
coming
for an angle
back.
there on Vol. Vol gonna have to be watch out. However, Jax is able to come in looking for some damage. Ulting over to the other side, trying to buy himself some time. So unfortunately, Super Beans absolutely taking a pound towards CZ. Not able to find the damage that they need as now they get isolated and destroyed. Double flash from both sides as Vol is on a killing spree. Vol sitting at 3-0 in this game number 2. 5-2 so far in the favor of Khan.
This is why I hate this Volibear build so much. He just gets exploded on. So a couple things we got to talk over. Sivir might be dead, actually.
Locked down by Will Show Them
Yep,
All.
okay.
Will Show Them All is definitely going to show them all as he takes them down. Braum going to catch a polymorph directly to the face. Unfortunately, is able to get out, but that's going to be another kill on the side of Will Show Them All. Aphelios has got to be feeling happy about that. He's now 2-0 into Sivir, so Sivir is going to have an even higher hill to climb, even being 30 CS down on top of that. So that's what, 900 gold or so that she's got behind on Aphelios.
Yeah, it's something like that. And that should be the collector done for Aphelios as well. So he's going to be feeling very, very good about that. The caveat to that, though, is the top side of the map is really strong. You have a Graves with a Yomus. This is lethality Graves. So that is going to be... Oh, he just straight up bought IE. Okay, never mind. We're saving collector for second then. I respect it. I mean, at this point, if you have the gold for it, why not? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. the really absolutely massive power spike on this Aphelios. Even this with that serrated Dirk as well, is going to be pumping out the deeps. And I think this is what Sinset was waiting for. They're waiting for like Aphelios to either get IE or their first item or away, and now they can go ahead and fight over this next objective. Because even though they're down 1,000 gold, this Aphelios is really, really strong. He does have a strong Jax to contend with. Now, if that Ghost is down, he's going to die, but that's why we have the Mikhail's first. And, oh, that's a Volibear.
Super Beans looking for an angle here on Killen, taking him down.
Oh, whoa.
HP, and Talia going to come in and cut them off, and unfortunately, it's going to be to their detriment as they flash over the wall, and Volibear's not able to continue to follow it up.
Okay.
Vol.
I mean, they get the summoners out, and I think that's fine. They get first tower in the process of that as well. So we are at first tower feat for Sinset. The feats of warfare was secured by Rift Herald's on the map, right? Okay. So we might get the feats of strength as a whole completed by Khan once they secure this Rift Herald, because that'll put them at 3. They got the first strength, they got the 2 grabs from earlier. And I like the trade here instead, try to get the bot lane tier 2. They're not gonna be able to get it though, unfortunately. But the feats were secured with that Rift Herald take. So Khan having the fancy shoes, they will have, they summoned Rift Herald already, but I guess that's going topside.
Shelly is indeed already drifted into top lane as that T1 goes down and the push continues in the top side, and I don't blame them for continuing to apply the pressure here on the top lane.
Oh, bot lane's fighting.
Avoid that Aphelios. Unfortunately, the drift is not good, but I think we're actually getting a fight there in bot lane. Yes, Killen did take a good chunk of damage. Unfortunately, the ult once again
She's
does
dead.
miss for Will Show Them All, but it still doesn't matter. Aphelios now having 3-0. Absolutely an insane amount of gold. That is a good and a bad thing, because we know where all of the gold is on Sinset. If you can get to that Aphelios, Sinset will fall apart, but that's a tall order to ask for, DBZ.
I saw it coming too. I saw Aphelios just chilling in a bush. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna fight this right. And then I saw Sivir's health bar immediately start disappearing. They were able to catch out this flashless Sivir. Just not even the Brumshi was enough to save her. Now it is a 3-0. We're just keeping the Dirk, I guess, for fun. We're going for Lord Dom second. That actually makes a lot of sense. So you got to get through this Braum somehow, and I respect it, but the dragon is on the field. Maybe they give this up. The Graves just got there. They might fight this actually, but Aphelios doesn't have ult. That's the kind of the caveat right now, and they don't have mid lane prio, but it looks like they might 5-man this, but it might be too late.
Vul already doing a healthy amount of damage as Drake goes down to about half
it's
HP.
not too late.
The fight is queuing up. Vul looking for an angle, trying to go in it. He can steal it. He's done it before. Super Bean's able to take a good chunk of damage, already going down to
Oh, this
half
is good.
HP.
This is good.
Talia offsetting them, but still Graves can go over the wall and directly.
Oh, she got it!
2 away as Lux picks up the Drake for her side. Lux picking up the Drake for Khan.
Okay, well, that was awkward. Not often you see a Lux stealing a dragon away. They're going to try to break open this mid lane tier 1 or steal away a couple of these camps. Aphelios is a little too far forward for my liking with no flash.
No, you called it right there as Aphelios gets isolated and destroyed. And now Sivir has a bit of gold in her pocket, picking up at least 1 kill as the
I hate this Volibear build.
Side, Talia having to watch out for it as well, and that's 2 deaths on the side of Sinset Khan. Gotta be feeling happy about that. Sivir finally having something going for her. I believe that was a 500 gold shutdown plus the 300 for the kill, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, man. I'm trying not to I'm trying to sound as least flamey as possible, but this I cannot stand the cosmic drive first on the Volibear. He just gets blown up so quickly, and we saw that again in that previous fight. Super Beans, who is the super massive carry in the previous game, has just not been able to have the same impact. And it's unfortunate because I was hoping this game would be a lot closer, but Khan is starting to run away with it. They're starting to get to that point where they can start running away with it. That is almost the Lux that can one-shot you. Once that Storm Surge is done, she will definitely one-shot you. But they might maybe make a play here in the mid lane. She does have flash. They're going for it.
Stepping up a little bit too much. However, she's going to run directly into the Q. This is exactly what I was talking about here with Super Beans running directly into a Q. Going to get isolated, having to go over the wall. But Vol is on the hunt. He wants the kill. He wants the blood, and he might just find it. Yes, indeedy. Vol on a rampage, sitting at 4-0 for the side of Khan as the bear goes down for the 4th time.
Okay. So everything you said earlier has come to fruition. Volibear walks forward. Lux stun. That's still a lot of damage on that Aphelios. Oh my god, he might get both.
Oh, Aphelios able to get the Sivir from quite the range. You've always got to watch out for him. Sure, he may have gotten taken down. His positioning wasn't the greatest earlier, but still, he was able to nuke Killen absolutely as that 20-second gray screen has started. Unfortunately, no objectives here for Sinset in order to get their hands on, but the good news is that there's a little more gold in the pocket of their carry.
What they need to, Lux is gonna TP back here, use the ultimate to clear this wave. I do believe.
wave?
Yeah. Oh
No. Lulu
Okay,
having
he's
to blow her ultimate in order to keep will show them all alive. Unfortunately, that's going to be a powerful tool out. And this Q, this stun from Lux is doing so much work. And just like you called it, she's dealing a good chunk of damage right now. I think you said she needs Storm Surge or something to that effect in order to truly come online. But she does have her first item out and ready to go, and you can't counter out whatsoever. And Sivir is slowly building up there in the background. Does need a little bit more of a boost. I think they have. It looks like it's Yuntal so far. I don't remember if people count the completed boots as a full item. So one, possibly 2 items so far.
Sort of. Yeah. It depends on who you talk to, but this is a good vision toggle here as that is a dead.
No, absolutely. That's a dead Talia getting a little bit too close to the fire and ultimately going to get burned and taken out as Otacon spawns in the background. There's a body on the floor. The number advantage is here on the side of Khan. However, if they can find the damage, if Aphelios can get in there in time, he can nuke them down. The armor is definitely shredded. Super Beans looking for
so
Super Squad to go in. They can steal it, but it needs to get his angle in there. Unfortunately,
Good body block.
Just keep the entire team away. This is not what you want.
Oh, the puppy all missed.
The ultimate as well.
Oh, they're grouped up. Ah!
Slowing them down, trying to get an advantage. Aphelios able to do a good chunk of chunky, but it just may not be enough. There's one more shot, 2 more.
Oh my god, what is this champion?
Aphelios is just barely gonna get taken down. The chalice came through for Lulu, but the damage was still too much to deal with, and that's a triple kill on the Graves. That's a triple kill on Vol.
If that collector was done, Aphelios kills them all. That is actually in a 1v9 moment. So 200 years just not enough for the Aphelios. Not as of yet, but absolutely close fight. I mean, that Otacon also putting in a lot of work as well, giving the extra bit of adaptive damage and an experience as well. And it just makes Khan stronger. And it looks like we're going to game 3 because this is more of what I was saying that Khan should have done in the previous game, but they made those mistakes. They haven't been making those mistakes in this game. So now they're in firm control of this game. We're looking at a potential game 3 depending on how this next dragon fight goes. But I'm excited. This is great. We're watching some good League of Legends.
Absolutely. Speaking of League of Legends, we're sitting at 22 minutes, almost at the 23-minute mark, as the next Drake just kind of goes solely here to Vol. And I don't blame him.
He's dead.
31K to 34K, as once again the Q coming into play, dealing a good chunk of damage, setting things up for Vol to pick up another kill, and they've got to watch out for it. Lulu having to pop their flash. Vol has an opportunity to deal a good chunk of damage. Talia buying himself.
Oh god, this is gonna hurt.
The beating stick in of the Graves gonna get taken down, and now Vol sitting at 9-0. As 2 more go down for Sinset.
More gold over to the pockets, and they might do something cheeky under this tier 2. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, there's the cheeky, but it looks like that the binding will miss. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage on the Aphelios. I think he didn't take any damage. Okay, the camera panned away just a little too far, but does end up surviving them. This does open up the tier 2. They're feeling themselves now at this point. They're 7,000 gold ahead. Objective bounties are active. I was getting ready to say something about Lux too right before that last fight ended up starting. Would you believe me if I told you that Lux is my 2nd highest mastery champion?
I could see that. I think Lux is a really solid choice, just sort of overall. Her kit's very powerful, and the thing I like here about Dongo is Dongo not only knows when to use their Q defensively, which is most of the time, I would argue, most of the time you want to use that Q defensively, especially into someone like Volibear. Volibear's got a straight line. Lux loves people running directly at them because of that, but Lux has been able to pick up massive Q after massive Q over walls, in the middle of fights, right before fights, allowing their team to pick them off, and Vol has just been loving it, taking every opportunity he can to pick up those kills, and Dango really setting them up to take those kills.
Absolutely setting them up. Oh, okay. For a moment there, I thought we were about to have a Lux moment. That would have been a Lux moment because that is a 2-item Lux. What she's building third is, I'm assuming, is Shadow Flame. For more of that one-shot potential, as Fireman is going to be spotted here. Everyone else going to be spotted as well. We still have this Aphelios we have to worry about, I will say. Is still very strong in the grand scheme of things because of that CS advantage. Also because of those multiple early game kills that we'll show them all got as well. And this Lulu can still be a really powerful tool. But unfortunately, I think in the straight up 5v5, Synset kind of just lose right now. I think when they pick off members like one by one, I think that's where they'll thrive right now for the moment. And then they'll get to that point where Aphelios can absolutely 1v9. But the Baron is on the map right now. They have first access to it. I don't anticipate there should be a contest. As I say that, now everyone's moving over. So there is, in fact, going to be a contest. They don't do it. Actually, I lied. They do it pretty quickly. So we might have a fight here in a second.
Taliyah does have an opportunity to split them with their ult, but they do not have the
this is good.
Going for the ability.
Oh, he's dead.
Down, and we'll show them all. Already down to half HP. He does manage to get out, popping an ultimate, but he's a 1 or 2 shot ready for him to take it down. 1 goes down, 2 go down, 3 go down. That's a double kill for Jax. Ultimately, Aphelios going to get taken down, and the Baron is going to fall to the other side. Taliyah, I don't even think getting an ultimate off. Unfortunately, she's right on top of a ward, and that's going to be an ace as Jax picks up a 3rd kill.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is more along the lines of what we were supposed to see from Khan in the previous game. This is a lot cleaner compared to game 1. It's just that first game got out of control for them, and they lost the Goldie that they had, but now this is a lot more controlled, I would say. I think they're picking their fights a lot better. They're also able to be forced out of playing... Rather, they forced their super carry Beanie on the previous team to be kind of a non-factor this game, sitting at 1-7, not even done with their second item as well. And then meanwhile, you have a 3-item 10-0 Graves on the other side with almost 200 CS in 26 minutes.
Absolutely scary, and the important part too is Vul has that gold, so the player is going to be really, really important. And I think I mentioned it before, Khan, the tip of the spear, very much so is Vul. When Vul seems to be doing well, the team seems to be doing well, and the fact that Super Beans is not doing super great kind of says a lot. I don't think we can pin everything here on the Volibear jungle. I think it does have a lot early on, but we've got to remember this Volibear was picked for the second one here. I mean, you could argue that maybe they should have known better, or they should have picked someone else, or maybe they thought it was going to be a cheeky sort of flex pick. I don't even care a crazy amount for Volibear in the top lane. I know he's got his places. I know he can do very well, but I feel like there's better picks. I feel like there's more meta picks. And I mean, I guess the other side of those two is Graves isn't super crazy meta, but it feels like it on Vul.
Almost have an IE eventually. We do get an objective bounty that is currently claimed up on the top side. They're losing an inhibitor for it. They might lose 2 inhibitors for it, actually, because the mid lane tier 3 is not there as well. Or they're gonna go ahead and fight right now. Now's the time.
Good stuff there by Volv. Gonna pin him directly on the wall. This is their best chance to go for it. Unfortunately, the damage there on Lux is too much for them to march forward, as Aphelios gets an ultimate out, getting so close to getting that fed Bull, and ultimately another inhib falling on the other side. That was a decent spot for Synset in order to try and turn things around, but ultimately it just did not work out, as the last Drake comes up, as the soul point comes up for the side of Khan. Khan got their 2 inhibs, got their 2 towers, and now they're gonna get their hands on a soul.
Simmer should have 3 items by now, I would assume. That was a lot of standing gold that took off the map there. Yep, almost 3 items actually. But Lux has 3 now. That Shadow Flame is done. Graves has 4. That IE is done. This Jax is really strong as well. Yep, this is looking really good right now for Khan. They're almost 11,000 gold. But they still have Baron for, I think, about another 30 seconds now, so they can try to shove this top lane in, break open this tower as well. And right now, just the Synset have to play defense. There's really not much they can do. They have to clear out these super waves. One more fight is going to determine this game, and then we are for certain gonna have a 3-game series on our hands. Wouldn't have won it any other way. I said I wanted 2 more games, but I said 2 more close games, and Khan came to play for this second game.
Absolutely. Hopefully we get to see a little bit of a different performance here by Super Beans. Maybe something a little more meta, maybe something a little more that synergizes with his team, but you never know exactly how the draft is going to turn out. Baron buff did finally go away, so the sieging potential is nowhere near as strong as it was, but still, this is a very, very fed team. It's 56k to 44k in the favor of Khan as they begin their siege on this last remaining T3.
Yeah, it should break this open unless we do something a little weird here, but taking a lot of damages. Oh.
Aphelios gonna get targeted and nuked there as Volo goes over to the other, or sorry, Vol goes over to the other side of that one, dealing good damage, absolutely nuking everybody left and right. Volo looking for super beams, might actually be able to get Vol, but it's just not gonna be enough as Vol picks up a legendary, and this next game is gonna tie things up 1-1. Talia trying to buy some time, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Poppy doing the same thing, but knocking down most of the wave. Vol does take a good chunk of damage as Poppy goes in and gets destroyed. Everybody keeps trying to take on the champ, but Vol keeps proving why they are so powerful, why they have so much gold. Talia does get a flip, does get a kill, but Vol's still alive, and the Nexus should still ultimately fall to the side because Sivir should be able to chunk this thing.
Oh, this is disrespectful. Oh my god, that was a lot of damage under the Graves there, but it's the end of the game, and we're tied 1-1 now between these two teams. Khan coming online, absolutely demolishing that game because they did not make those crucial mistakes from earlier. Or that they made earlier in game one. It's just they were not allowing Sinset to get any kind of footing in on this game. When they took control, they firmly grasped it. Firmly grasped it. That is how hard they had control. I mean, probably, I don't know. But it was really clean to see. They played that very, very well. We're down 20 champions, so I'm wondering what we're going to get in game 3, because this is where Fearless, like, obviously the first 3 games are pretty normal, but like when we later get to like games 4 and 5 scenarios, oh, this is going to be cinema. This is only week 1. I hope every week is like this.
Absolutely. And I think Fearless is probably one of the greatest additions to League of Legends in most recent years, because it adds so much of those chess moves. And most importantly, it pushes these players to their limit. Are you a one trick? We're going to find out in Fearless. And so far, that doesn't seem to be the case for Vol having such a phenomenal appearance on Graves. I feel like we've gone back in time. It's been a while since Graves has been really, really powerful, and he felt extremely powerful in Vol. But either way, we're going to run into another ad break, so we don't do it during the game. Make sure to join us. We'll be here in about another 2-3 minutes, and thank you for watching so far. And do you smell that, DBZ? That is the smell of game number 3, and hopefully it is going to be a good one.
Just get a little whiff, get a little whiff of the game 3 action we gonna end up having for ourselves. I'm stoked. Game 3s are fun. Game 3s of drafts are also fun. We're getting a little deeper into those champ pools now, as you mentioned. I'm really curious now because Sinset's going black on blue side this game, and it's like these the last 2 games don't even matter now. It comes down to this right here, to this last and final game of the night. We're gonna have wildly different drafts, I would assume. I don't know what to expect, to be completely honest of you. I have high expectations, obviously, because I want it to be a close game 3 and not a one-sided game 3, obviously. But anything can happen. It really comes down to the execution of these drafts.
Absolutely. And honestly, if I'm Sinset, I'm probably going to try to ban out I'm going to use all 5 of my bans on the jungler for Khan to ban out Vul. I think getting him shut down would do a lot, not just because he's a really good player, but because his team is so reliant on that tempo. Not that the top laner for Khan is bad or the mid laner is bad or anything like that. It's just like the team seems so reliant on the backs of Vul, which is a double-edged sword. We saw that on Aphelios. You see that in general. Like Aphelios got so fed. He was very, very scary. But as soon as they took him out, it was like fighting a paper tiger.
Yes. And if we're gonna keep it somewhat the same, I would assume Vul has a lot of options of what he could play in this 3rd game. We saw Graves. There's Kindred. There's Echo. There's Kiana. Kiana's jungle's been coming back a little bit recently as well. But looks like we're going to start off with 80 carries being banned away as the Jinx, Kai'Sa, and Smolder are banned. So we're pitching the 80 carry pool off rip, and we're drafting pretty quick as well. So these teams have a game plan coming into this 3rd game. We have Mel and Mundo banned as well, and just the final ban of Khan is going to be the Aurora, which has been banned away the whole series, which is unlucky because I really like watching people play. Aurora. But what is his first pick? It would be Psycho if we do Jane. Maybe we do a jungle first pick. Maybe we do Kindred, or to take away the Kindred, or Ashe. Actually, that makes sense. Has been banned the whole series, so that's available. So since they're going to take that now, Khan. Do you pick Kindred, Kiana, or Echo here for Vul? What is the game plan? I would think Kindred could provide a lot of value here. It seems like that Vul's really good at these AD carry champions that are in the jungle. So maybe we have a little bit of a game plan about that. The Ashe would make sense. That way we can keep track of the Kindred to kind of deter that pick away. Tristana is a little weird because this is a flex pick. It's been kind of back in the bottom lane recently. Could still be mid potentially, and I think this would be a really exciting pick for them to go for. Now, out of what the second pick is, maybe they pick 80 carry. Maybe if assuming this is Trist, it would have to be something AP. So that's where the Seraphine kind of comes into play. Or unless we're really crazy and do Swain for some reason, that is a possibility. Maybe Swain top if that's what we're gonna aim for. But not sure what Khan have in mind here. But there's just a lot of options. Oh, we're picking Orin early and blind. I don't like this because. Oh, go ahead. You first.
Oh, no. I was going to say, and this might be counterintuitive to use. I do like this, right? Because even if Ornn gets countered, right? Ornn is happy to sort of sit there and take the loss. And for me, Ornn is one of the safest top picks, probably next to Sion. I think you could argue one way or another because both Sion and Ornn can kind of lose lane. Sion even more so. Ornn just needs time to scale, and it gives them sort of that late game scaling. But you can't underestimate Ornn. I've seen a recent trend in almost every single one of the series I've cast over the last couple of months. Ornn has been picking up first blood almost consistently. So I'd be very surprised if we don't see that. Although I'll be happy if we don't, because Ornn getting federally on accelerates that. The pick over here for Sinset is going to be Zen, very, very traditional. And then we're going to play it directly into Sion. So Sion into Ornn, 2 top laners that are perfectly happy with losing. Sion, I think, being the stronger there for it. And Sion provides something that also Ashe and Zen do, which is you've got to worry about where you're standing. If you get caught up in that knockup by Sion, if you get caught by that arrow by Ashe, if you get separated due to the defensive ultimate for Zen, there's a lot of work then. Next pick coming out over here, DBZ, is Nautilus. What are your thoughts?
I think the Nautilus is kind of a takeaway, I would assume, because Ashe Nautilus can be pretty obnoxious. You just basically can't move at all. but it makes me wonder what the game plan for jungle here is. Banning the Milio makes a lot of sense. We'll probably get another Enchanter man, I would assume. There's really not very many Enchanters left. Ashe Nico is a pretty disgusting combo, so that's maybe something they'll think about taking away. The Kindred makes a lot of sense. I think pitching that jungle pool, like you said, is the way to go for Con, because they're saving their last pick for this. But depending on where this Tristana is going, oh, we're leaving Nico open. Ooh, this is bold, unless we're going to pick it ourselves. But where would it go? That's the question. Actually, there was a Nico jungle I saw recently, but very unlikely.
Nautilus jungle.
Oh, you're right.
I don't think they've nerfed it, and when it was being played, it was very, very strong, and it might be the angle to go for. It could be not only would it be a good denial, but it's such a great jungler in my opinion. But I'm also one of those weirdos where I'll play jungle Janna and Diamond into Viego. But however, I've also seen Viego mid a whole bunch recently too. So.
What haven't you seen?
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I've seen a lot of weird stuff. Every time I've been like, no, okay, this is Viego jungle and not Nautilus jungle or anything like that. It's bit me in the butt every single time. So I'm just hedging my bets at this point. We're going to go from that into Renata, which I like. Renata is a great sort of anti-engage, super well into Ornn, super well into Nautilus, super well into Viego. It can do so much work there into all of these, depending on how the kits line up.
Ari? I'm trying to think of what mid laners we pick here. Do we pick Ari?
Seer's on the
Ari is
table.
an option. Yeah, okay. Wow.
Ari,
Okay, I'm kind of impressed I got that right. And you did say Azir. Yeah, I could see that potentially being an option. We still have Syndra open as well. LeBlanc would be a little weird, I think. Maybe we even should just say screw it and we pick AP in the bot lane instead. I still think Swain would be kind of gross here, but that's just me. There's just a lot that they could go that could just or there's not a lot that goes with it, but just a few options. I don't know how I feel about that one though, but obviously that spread damage can be pretty obnoxious. With a Rylai's, no one's ever moving, so that's basically clean up city for like Viego and Tristana anyways. But I'm not entirely sure if I'm vibing with the brand mid, unless, like you said, the possibility of being Viego mid, brand jungle, or Nautilus jungle and brand. Yeah, it's something weird that could potentially be happening.
I just hope this isn't brand mid. Right, that's the only role I don't want. I would rather see Brand top than I would mid. I think Brand is better in just about every single lane, every single role, except for mid at this point. It's not that his kit's bad. It's just that everybody else's kits seem to outclass him, seems to outrange him, and he really struggles in mid. It's not impossible for him to do well in mid, but why set yourself up to fight uphill? Brand's still a decently strong jungler. Brand is a very strong support. He's one of my favorite supports in the bot lane, even though we don't get to see him in pro play too often, and he's not a bad ADC, so there's still a lot of options right there. I think we're gonna get some shenanigans here. I think we're either gonna get Brand jungle or Brand ADC. I don't think he's gonna be mid. I think we're gonna get Viego in a weird place, but we'll see here in a minute.
We're definitely getting a level 1 though, that's for sure, out of Con. I mean, you have Nautilus, you might as well just go for it. Have Tristana get on top of them and Viego follow up with the stun, and that's instant first blood level 1. So I think that's maybe something cheeky that Con decides to go for. If gold gets onto either one of these carries, whether it's the Brand or the Viego, yes, I will say Brand even if it's a support, or Tristana. So that'll be good for Con. I just need to start off this third game. So it's gonna be fun. These team fights have been absolutely interesting to watch between both games out of both of these teams. Now we have Ashe Arrow engage with Xin Zhao and Sion going full force in, Ari cleaning up as well. Maybe Ashe kiting out some of these beefier members as well, so that way they can't really get on top of her. And then on the other side for Con, you have a lot of burst on their side with the Tristana resets coming through as well. But it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna. I wonder if I'm getting we're getting a little ahead, because there's not exactly a lack of damage for the side of Sinset, but it is heavily reliant on how fed Xin Zhao gets, I would say. Because again, Ashe is a utility carry. We saw what will come for them all did in game 1 on the Varus. So once again, something of that nature. Xin Zhao being obnoxious, Ahri maybe even being obnoxious, and Sion and Renata just being the nuisances that they can be going into this third game. I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I'm excited.
Absolutely, DBZ, and I think the things to watch out here for Sinset are going to be, Xin I think is important, but I think more specifically, Sinset needs to do one of two things. They need to have a really good They either need to have a really good counter engage on Renata, or they need to grab someone, whether it is with the Ashe ultimates, whether it is with the charm on Ahri. And if Sion is paying attention, I've seen some really insane Sion plays where Sion just immediately, as soon as someone gets stunned, you hear the ultimate come in, he knocks them up, and then whoever got stunned previously is just absolutely obliterated. And there is that angle here. Basically, if they catch anyone that's not Ornn, I've got to imagine, and even Ornn will take a quite heavy pounding if they get hit by this. So I think that's what Sinset is going to be really shooting for. So the whole time, I think we're going to keep our eyes on the stuns, our eyes on Renata, and I can't make a crazy amount of predictions here for Khan because we don't know where everyone is yet. So it's brand mid. Okay, I'm worried about this, especially into an Ahri. Ahri doesn't have the insane range that some of the other ones do, but she's still got a healthy amount, and I'm pretty sure her ability range eclipses Brand. However, the sort of counterpoint to Brand is Brand just needs to get a good ultimate off. He can get his ultimate off and die, and even if he gets bullied in mid lane, he can still do a crazy amount with his R.
I haven't played too much Brand. I've played him in Arium here and there, so I kind of have somewhat of an idea. But yeah, in matchups like the Ahri, it's not a lot of fun to play. I mean, you just kind of get outdone at all times because you have to get so close before you can actually burn some of your abilities. The exception being your E, so when he gets realized, that E will prove actually like dividends, I think, for Khan. So maybe that's the angle they're going for. They're like, let Vol do their thing on Viego, and then let Kilenti do their thing as well. But I think that'll do it for us for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. So when we come back, we'll be on the rim for game 3 and find out who's going to be crowned our victor tonight. Don't go anywhere. Not saying there's not good tools on the side of Khan either, but I think they kind of fall a little short because you either have to land the Nautilus ultimate or the Orn Horn, and then from there maybe the rest of everything follows through. And Viego's going to be heavily relying on these resets in some of these later team fights. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Sinset do with this comp. Not Sinset, but Khan rather. It's going to be interesting to see what Khan do with their comp to see how they can break this game wide open and take the dub for tonight.
And I think one of the big things to watch out to is specifically the tempo. It's really gone back and forward. We'll show them all had the tempo in the last one, at least in the bot lane for a while. Killen had the tempo in the first one on Caitlyn, and now we get to see Tristana. I really love to see Tristana in general. I love her a lot more mid. I would have preferred this to be a brand ADC or support, but we're not going to see that. And Tristana can still do a lot of work in mid lane. My biggest problem is running into that Renata. Renata is very good at disrupting those jump-ins, disrupting those engages. Her kit's just so great for dealing with that, but she's also going to land her abilities and get it at the right place at the right time. So all of those are going to be contributing factors as Nautilus has already taken about half his HP in damage. Braum fared a little bit better into the Ahri than I expected into level 2 at least.
Getting a little sense of an idea at the moment is what the game plan from these junglers are going to be. Vul, I would assume we want to get this Tristana ahead. They know they're going to be pushed in, so that opens up the angle. However, the Raptor ward does spot him out, so we'll be aware that he is skipping Raptors and going bot side right now as this bot lane is currently being pushed in. So I assume we should see some respect from Sinset here in a little bit, knowing that Viego's on this side of the map. Should
Dongo.
push this in. Oh, you're right.
There it is. Zen's going to go in. Super Bean's going to waste the flash there of Brand. Losing that flash has got to sting. Brand doesn't have a lot of escapability, which means he's going to be really vulnerable for an incoming gank. Pretty good charge there by Orn diving directly into Sion, but you know, we mentioned before, I don't expect to see a lot here back and forward with Sion. I think at this point Orn is geared up to get the first blood, or at least get the first kill in top lane.
That flash you mentioned, burned by the Brand, that does mean that it's opened up with a repeat gank to come through for the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao, as we know, is really good at closing the distance. If landing that E can immediately follow with the flash and close that gap. With this no flash, that means that that is an open target, and with Ahri Charm as well, it means she can get a lot of chip damage off to set this up as well. And Viego, the miss shouldn't be spotted, but they should be aware that maybe Viego is still on this side of the map, so the scuttle should be taken off the map, as that was a pretty gnarly little hook there. So that's what you were talking about too, is it can stop these engages that Tristana likes to do, trying to stop her from jumping forward, even jumping out as well. So that's something that could pretty much play a pretty crucial part. Now we do have the scuttle that was taken on the bot side. Looks like Xin Zhao is going to be walking through mid lane here. Gonna just kind of wave by. The Brand is gonna do a little bit of chip damage, and I assume we're gonna see resets coming out of these mid laners fairly soon. No mana almost on the Brand, so Dongo is gonna have to go back at some point. A little bit of chip damage onto the Ahri, but hold up, Xin Zhao's top.
Orn taking a good chunk of damage there for Super Beans. However, Vul is chomping at the bits. He's foaming at the mouth. He's coming in on the back line, looking for something.
Oh, well,
to
they
grab.
still got the flash.
On the other side is Viego. Starts the engagement, but ultimately has to walk away, taking a healthy amount of chip damage from Sion. The gank did not work out, but that's another flash down on the side of Khan as Ahri catches a rotation here from the Nautilus.
Okay, they wanted to probably burn a summoner because they burned 2 flashes at this point, Brand Flash and now Orn Flash as well. And honestly, in the extended fight, I'm 99% sure that Sinset's still in that. -1 cannon, that's unlucky, and the reset was canceled as well. Reading those TPs currently being burned by the Brand. Ahri should be resetting here shortly. We're gonna get the Blackfire touch first out of the Brand. So interesting.
Nautilus.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He's not gonna take it.
No,
Okay.
I thought
Nautilus was gonna grab triple net there. Triple net was in an unfortunate position, but once again, maybe Nautilus got stopped there, right there at the very end. Vul is over here around the mid, but he's gonna get spotted by the pink as Braum pops his ultimate there on Fire Mana, faring much better into Ahri than I expected. But his TP is down because he just got his rotation back, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a insane amount of mana regen, so that's gonna be used up rather quickly.
Also, really curious. So now that I'm thinking about supports, wonder why we're not bringing Spellbook. Oh, there's a hook.
Ooh. Nautilus gonna find a hook there on Renata, followed up shortly behind Killen. Killen able to do a good chunk of damage as they go down about half HP. The exhaust comes out as Tristana goes back over the wall. Vol coming in, looking for the hit with the metal chair. Gotta try to find some sort of angle.
Nice
Nautilus almost able to get a hook, forcing
Guess
the
who's
flash
here?
to show them. And now Zen coming in, Super Beans looking for an angle, gonna take down the Nautilus. Nautilus gonna go down the
Nice,
first
that's
one,
one.
going down to Ash. That's exactly
Oh
what
my
they
God.
need. The knock up onto Vol. Super Beans picking up a kill. Ash picking up a kill, and that's gonna be 2-0 in the favor of Sinset.
All three of them burned flashes there as well. The exhaust also playing a crucial part in Tristana not being able to capitalize on that damage. So the minute Xin gets there, it's like it's full retreat because of all the chip damage that Ash was pumping out at the start of that as well. This opens up the dragon for them. That's the first Chemtech Drake, the first Drake of the game going over to them. That's now over 1,000 pause. Oh, okay. I guess we're pausing.
We're trying to thicken the plot with a dramatic pause for sure. Almost about 7 minutes on the game. We have started Drake here on this side, and it's now 11K to about almost about 10K. So a little over a K lead on the side of Sinstead. About a minute away for the Void Grubs to pop their way out. So plenty of time here for plenty of resets. And something I wanted to note over here is Triple Net on Renata is going for pure denial, right? Already the kit on Renata, we spoke about many times. So much in the kit does a lot of work for those denials, but then that exhaust, just like you mentioned, DBZ, that would have been a kill on Killen, and Killen would have been able to get that kill and just sort of get out, and then that would have been a much different fight. But that exhaust just cut that damage so far down to where it was almost non-existent.
I very recently was complaining about exhaust. I think I was playing against the Samira that had it, and it was not a good time. Playing against someone that has exhaust is completely unfun. But we have Tristana here on the bot side with some alone time. She's going to be very good at taking towers when she finishes up. We might have a mid lane play, but when she finishes up her item, and if assuming Void Grubs also get taken as well, she can push some of these towers absolutely like chunk through them. Hold on a second. We're
Looking
fighting
for an angle there on the
he
not
missed.
able to get his hook as he just sort of gets left behind and taken down, trying to keep himself alive with
That
a shield,
arrow.
but it's just not going to be enough because the feats of warfare are going to go to the other side. Will show them all, grabbing the second kill for himself and the third kill for his team.
I was here. Hold on.
Dango,
Charm.
gotta have to watch
There's the
out.
charm.
Going to come in, locking down the
Oh!
front and taking him out. Super Beans able to pick up a kill there as well. So unfortunately, not on the end of Ahri, but Super Beans is going to be feeling happy with that. And I actually, for once, I agree with this because you need Super Beans to counter Vol. If Vol comes online, your whole team is going to suffer for it.
Yes, I like this plan idea. Now they're going to start up the Void Grubs. The bad news is Viego sees them and is aware of this, so they should not get out. But Ash could lose this 1v1 here.
Tristana looking for an angle, gonna hop over the wall, dealing a good chunk of damage, taking him down to less than half HP. The second hop coming in, the barrier coming down 4. We'll show them all. There's the ultimate, there's the shutdown. They're in as Nautilus pulls in exactly where he doesn't want to be, popping his defensive ult. We do have Bren here. He gotta find the
Oh my
angle.
God,
He's done
not
find
all.
the stun, but unfortunately it's just not enough as Nautilus gets taken down, and that's a 1-for-2 trade in the favor of Sinset with the Grubs on the line.
Vul got hit with the Renata ultimate in auto Nautilus to his death. He was one auto away. Oh man, that's actually unlucky. The hostile takeover doing a lot of work there. Now the 1v1 we saw on the bottom side as well, I think was just Will Show Them All just being up too far and in the lane for too long just gave Kellen time to come back and get that kill. Now on the opposite side of the map, we lost Void Grubs, we lost the fight, and it was just a disaster for the side of Khan up there on the top side. But I think it's okay. We're gonna try to make a play here, not too much to come out of it. But like you were saying, Beans is online. Beans is doing the thing. Beans is doing Beans things, and that's what they did in game 1. And they were able to carry themselves and carry their team on to victory in that game, as this recall probably is gonna be stopped here. Also, Sion ulted at some point. I saw the icon go through. I think there was just an ult at top though, so just to be ready for that play when it happened. But that's a pretty common use for Sion ultimate. Just ult your way back to lane. And Off to the races is a good start. 2,000 gold lead, minute 40 till the next Drake. It's a Cloud Drake that's coming up next, so that's something that that Sinset can look forward to. TPs will be available onto the top laners by this point. We almost have items done on these 80 carries, I would say. I think the Tailwind should be done or close to it by the time this Drake spawns. And right here, I'm gonna change my thought process. That was a really good ward, by the way. More people should do that ward. But Korak, 6-1. Ornn is doing Ornn things. What are you anticipating for the next couple of minutes? Oh, we're fighting.
I'm anticipating a bot and bottom lane as unfortunately the exhaust comes down on Nautilus, which is not who you want. However, it doesn't matter as Ashe gets isolated and destroyed. Vol finally able to get something to happen on his side of the team.
Oh my god, that
get
side
reset
step.
as Fireman are going to find a way to angle on Ornn, but unfortunately just going to take a tower shot for their trouble. Super Beans into Vol.
Okay, they can fight this.
Trying to tie things up. However, Nautilus going to go directly in. There's the ultimate for their side, although things look super well for Super Beans. However, Super Beans is proven.
Oh my god,
he's out for blood,
this
picking
guy's
up
a
a triple
psycho.
kill. Now an angle here for the triple kill. Does Tristana have to blow the flash? Yes, indeedy, she does, as Killen has to escape over this. And this just isn't a Beans. This is a Super Beans. He's had plenty of time to power up. His montage has gone through, and now he is 4-0, DBZ.
That is the Psychopath Xin Zhao player that we are witnessing on our screens. 4-0 right now. They tried to make a play on the top side too on the Ornn, but unfortunately with CZ having 0 mana, basically, they were not able to secure that kill. They probably could have, maybe. But once again, the hostile takeover doing sums of work. Just the Tristana pummeling the Nocturne, and Xin Zhao able to close in, secure the kill. The Drake is alive. We're fighting in the river.
Hook comes out there on Super Beans trying to lock him down, but this is going to be a lot of gold to contend with as he's trying to deal a good chunk of damage.
Sion,
Stun
hello.
is missed by Braum as Sion rotates his way down. The fight for Drake is truly going to begin. Vol sitting about half HP. He needs a little bit of health regen as Super Beans regens off of Drake. No, not a lot of vision on their side. Killen able to take a good chunk of damage. Is at least 3 move in. However, Vol is still not here. Killen is still not here. Killen gonna get isolated. The slow coming in for Cornhole. Gonna get knocked up on.
Oh my god, that charm.
Charm comes to the other side there. Unfortunately, she's not able to res her right at the end. It's gonna get taken down anyways. Shut down for the
arrow.
Sure, it's not gonna matter as the arrow comes down on the Nautilus. Nautilus gonna get taken down, and all that are left are Dango and Killen. Not able to do too much other than watch the objective fall to the side of Sinset.
Pretty sure that's feats of strength completed as well. Just fall. Oh wait, hold on.
Looking for an angle, forcing the flash there by Will Show Them All, but Ashe having plenty of control, plenty of time, and most importantly, Killen just not having the damage yet, because I think one of those kills was done in that fight, so they haven't had a chance to reset.
All right, so let's piggyback it back a little bit. Earlier, Sinset caught feats of warfare with those 3 kills earlier. That was also the 3 monster slaying. They have 2 Drakes and Void Grubs. So now they have the shiny new shoes. And the 3,000-ish gold lead to go alongside it as well. Turret plates are getting ready to fall. It is an Inferno Rift. If they speedrun these next like 10 minutes, they should have an Inferno Soul on their hands. But Sinset, again, we're seeing it again. It's like once one of these teams gets a hold of a lead, they just don't let go to it. And right now, it's the kind of the Sinset show, but granted, it is barely cresting into the mid game. She's recalling on a ward. She's recalling on a ward. She's recalling on a ward.
No, Renata gonna pull her out and absolutely stop the backing there by Killen and the leap as well as Renata to buy even more time for Ashe to go in and grab a kill. Ashe now sitting at 4-2. Tristana sitting directly on the ward, and it indeed did cost her. No Drake to go for, but the fights could still go ongoing as Vol has to go over to the wall. Now Nautilus is gonna worry about gonna get pulled directly into Super Beans. Super Beans going back and forward, dodging the hook right there at the end. That could have spelled his doom, but still, this is a very, very fed Zen, and I think we're working on the wave to go for maybe a bit of a tower dive here, although I think tower diving Vol is very scary.
Especially because Ari is missing out on waves right now in mid lane, so she's going back to catch those. Brand is getting a reset off. I believe that his component sync that Andrews has done for kind of a hot second now. So she's going to be looking to push this in. Tristana is on her way back. Ash now is getting stronger now. She's 4-2. And that last play was the result of just a bad backing spot. Just not aware of that ward there. I guess I can't fault her then because she didn't know the ward was there. But the moment I saw Renata walking up, I'm like, oh, this is warded. But we're TPing to the bottom lane now. Diving a Scion is very, very hard. We're swapping up to the top side for this Rift Herald instead. They might still dive this guy, so this is going to be something.
Fool is going to try for it. They get a couple of shots there on the tower.
They want the tower.
They're going to ignore the Scion as Scion ults away as Ash Arrow throws an arrow, or Ash throws an arrow down, and I believe Shelly falls to the side of Sinset. So an objective trade. Khan just trying to get what they can, where they can, and I don't blame them. They need some gold, they need some objectives, they need to come online, and most importantly, they need pressure because the pressure is on them. The tempo is not in their favor, and they're trying desperately to keep it away. Ash coming in with the help over here for Super Beans. Unfortunately, the slow does not happen. Maybe buying Zen a little bit of time to go in, trying to stay ahead of this Braum, but I think the Braum should be able to get out. Ash finally able to get the slow, closing the distance as they go down half HP.
Oh, wow.
The flash coming in, as unfortunately Renata is not able to make it there in time, and Nautilus making their way over here. And something I want to note here is Nautilus sitting at 0-5, not able to do as much as they need to. That Renata having such a profound effect, and now getting caught inside the jungle, running directly into a charm as he goes down to less than half HP and is destroyed as someone dies in top lane as well. Looks like Ash got a little bit too close, and Tristana and Ornn were able to do a nice 1-2 punch as for some reason Brand's gonna try to stop Scion over here. Triple Net gets a good chunk of damage. Renata now in trouble, able to buy themselves times. Bull finally able to get a shutdown and try and come online. Ari gonna have to back out. There's gonna be a 2v3 so far in the favor of Khan. Super Beans going over the wall. Bull out for blood, gonna smell, gonna try to find some sort of angle. Unfortunately, he is gonna get it, but Tristana's actually gonna take it right there at the end. Killing now sitting at 4-1, and now that T1 in top is in danger.
Okay, so what gold lead, I guess. So we're making, I think we just kind of overextended a little bit too much there for the side of Sinset. I'm not entirely sure why we're invading their topside jungle after Ash had just died. Little questionable decision making. Now there's 30 seconds to the next streak. Everyone will be available up and alive. We're not gonna have Zinzao ultimate. Ari ultimate should be available. Scion will have ultimate available, but also the hostile takeover will not. Everyone else on the other side should have theirs. This is the Ornn and the Viego ultimate. I believe not also will be up, but that is fine because they can use that as their engage. Now, as this is getting ready to spawn, if Khan takes this stops the dragon stacking. And that's obviously what you're going to want, especially if we somehow end up with a 4-dragon Infernal Soul for the side of Khan. That would be obnoxious, but we're trying to get some positioning right now. Super Beans taking a wee bit of chunk damage. A little bit of burn in there from the Leandries. They lose river control as a result of this, but they have to have the Scion currently walk forward, looking to see if they can get an angle right now. Just kind of keep getting that mid lane prio. They're going to drop the Rift Herald right now as well to force the out Khan from the river, but I don't think they should worry about this. They can give this up. They should just prioritize the tower, I would say. They might just go ahead and fight.
Brandon sitting over here in the background as Nautilus does kick off. Unfortunately, taking a lion's share of the damage.
He's so dead.
Able to do a good chunk of damage. Super Beans trying to buy some time, trying to stay alive, but ultimately is going to die. Too full, getting reset.
Oh boy!
The damage is just not there. The HP is not there. And now the Ornn is no longer there. Tristana going over the wall, trying to stay alive. They are on the hunt. They are
nice
out for the
flash.
Charm comes through, locking down Killen. Killen's going to fall apart, leaving Brand here by himself. Dango trying to go over the wall with a flash. Does just barely. Scion doesn't allow it whatsoever, and that's gonna be a full ace, I believe, as Nautilus spawns right there in the background, and a third Drake is now gonna fall to the side of Sinset.
Okay, so they keep the dragon stacking alive. Nautilus is gonna try to do something here. Ornn does have TP when he's up in 4 seconds, so this should theoretically go in favor of Sinset. Okay, it ends up going so. Now the Otacon is spawning in 35 seconds. They should take their time and reset now, but one fight. I mean, they're still ahead in gold right now for the side of Sinset. It was very, very close, but Zinzao pressed the R and then they couldn't get the damage off. I believe even the Brand ultimate stopped spreading because of the Zinzao ultimate as well. So it just negated a lot of the damage that Khan was looking for, and that would have been easy pickings and easy cleanup for them. As Inzao might see, or okay, never mind. Viego's gonna go ahead and run away, but Otacon has spawned on the map, and now this is where things get interesting. I think for the next couple of minutes.
Absolutely, Otacon being up. I think even Sinset at this point is still going to need some sort of numbers advantage, someone to pick off in order to start the fight. And then even after that, their positioning is going to be so important, because the biggest thing to worry about here is Vul getting these resets. It's a lot like Jinx. As soon as the one kill goes down, they go into, they grab another form. We've seen what Vul can do. Vul has a little more gold in his pocket, and we've seen what Vul can do. And then most importantly, someone you can't forget about too is Killen. Killen's so sort of been sitting here in the background, building up gold, building up damage, and there's someone you cannot ignore. And even though this Nautilus is at 0 and 7, he's still a very, very beefy boy. He's a very healthy boy, and he can buy time for his team. The biggest thing for him is just sort of his engage is nerfed because of the Renata.
And now we play the long time, or we just
go for it.
Missed. Okay,
arrow.
Okay, never mind. I was ready to set up something there, then they shot the arrow and missed. I'm like, all right, we're done with that one. But we might have a nice little charm here and a good chunk of one to Esco. Will walk away. Zhao, being a nuisance. Okay, I thought that actually hit. But right now, the game is just, spam these arrows, spam the charm.
Nautilus got to find another hook directly on
that hostile takeover is massive.
But look at this back and forward. Brand finally able to get a decent ultimate off, but ultimately I don't.
Why is he alive?
So many are so close to going down. Bull just barely able to escape that, barely able to survive, along with the rest of the team. And Renata is actually one of the only ones to go down. Bull's health regen, trying to come back, trying to save this mid turret, and this actually turned into not too much here for Sinset.
Okay, I'm a little confused what happened there, I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of low health bars on the side of Khan, but no kills came out at the end of that whole play. The hostile takeover, once again, doing a lot of work there. The cooldown's already halfway off, so it'll be ready for whatever this next fight ends up being. But I'm really shocked that didn't end up being into more for Sinset. Maybe just, obviously the arrow miss, that was the start of it. Renata stepped up just slightly too far, ended up getting hooked. The brand damage actually spread where it needed to this time, and I think that also played a massive factor into it as well. And by that point, it's like Sinset just ran out of cooldowns, and they're gonna lose now. Maybe the Otacon is just getting started.
Ari does have TP, so she can be here for this fight. Ward does come down, so I can see that Otacon sits about half HP, but unfortunately, Super Beans is halfway across the map, which means the Otacon might fall for free to the other side. Okay. No response. Renata doesn't have an ultimate to delay it, and just ultimately, nothing's going to happen. Sinset losing tempo, losing Otacon is going to sting. They were able to get a T1 in top and in mid, but at what cost? Losing Otacon has got to sting, and this might just provide a little bit more breathing room here for Khan to come online.
Having a thought though, I'm actually okay with them giving up. I think it kind of evens out the gold lead if anything. They got a couple of towers off the side of it as well, and maybe they just didn't feel confident enough that they can fight that. Under the assumption that they know that Viego has Collector right now, so he's a lot stronger than he was before. So now this about 2,500 gold lead is pretty even per se. With the Otacon that was taking is, yes, 3 Drakes are a thing. That's the caveat. Is Sinset they have Soul Point right now. So if they can get this Inferno Soul, that's a permanent buff for the rest of the game. And right now the game call is going to be to get some of this control back in the river. Clear out some of these wards. Drop your own wards even deeper into their jungle. Go for a pick. You have the Ash Arrow. You have the hostile takeover. Get ready for a fun pick. Maybe even if you could pick off the Viego, then I think they'll be even happier with that. Ari is coming down. She does have TP, worst case scenario anyways. And that was awkward. Are we fighting? Yes, we are.
That's Bull, and Bull gonna get collapsed upon, taking a good chunk of damage, just barely able to get away as
Ari's charm.
And buy themselves even more time as Ari comes in on the back line, able to lock down the Viego. And now
she's dead.
Again, Ari gonna get taken down. Ash looking for the slow. Is indeed gonna find them. Horn coming in. Ash able to dodge it right there at the end as they absolutely get melted. Braum gonna get slowed as well. Killen not able to find the range, not able to find the damage in order to support the team, and this might just be a free soul.
Okay, we lose the Ari, but it is okay. It's a 2-for-1 at the end of that, and it ends up opening the soul as well. The brand damage only went on to the Ahri, so it wasn't able to spread amongst the team. But I mean, you still take that, you get the Ahri, but picking off the Viego was massive. They do lose the mid lane tower in response. However, that is the Drake that is now taken off the map. Baron is up in 12 seconds. I don't think either team will go for it or not like that. Really, it matters right now. But overall, good play from Fireman in there, catching the flank off and catching the Viego off guard and securing that kill. That pretty much opened up the free soul for them. And really good heads up call from Sinset to call for a fight there after catching out the Viego as well. It was awkward. It started out real awkward. They got a lot of chunk damage on. Viego was forced to use the Heartbreaker out. And then from there, Fireman came in and cleaned up. And then the rest of the team took care of the rest of the work from there. And then blended with the soul.
Absolutely, and getting their hands on Soul with 2 Infernals has got to do a lot for them for sure. That's something we got to watch out for. Vul, you still can't underestimate him, but I mentioned it, time and time again. Vul very much so is the tip of the spear here for Khan, and when Vul is suffering, the team really seems to
Arrow? Yep.
Oh, Arrow coming in on Ornn. Ornn gonna take a good chunk of damage, but he is pretty beefy. He can take it. A charm gonna come in and actually make its way on to the Nautilus. It's still a lot of beef and not a lot of kills here, but Sinset now has the tempo. Baron is up, and Ashe is trying to stop the crash here in mid lane.
That is not the hook you want.
Directly onto Sion, but Sion does not care as Vul coming in. Super Beans is going to shadow them a little bit, looking for their lunge to go in, but it's just unfortunately not going to happen. I don't think the gold is on the side of Khan, and I think we're just trying to push things out and maybe bait or take Baron, or at the very least wait for that camp in help me out here, the camp right before Baron.
What do you mean the camp right before Baron?
There you go.
Scuttle Crab, they already got it.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot the name of Scuttle Crab. But yeah, they may be waiting for that Scuttle Crab to pop up so they have a little bit less free vision in order to take it.
Yeah, so he did that earlier. Actually, Khan did that earlier when it spawned, so they already have that control of that area. So they know that that is a possibility that Sinset could go for it. They could do it pretty quickly too, because Ashe has 2 items working on the IE right now, I believe. And I was just getting ready to say something earlier right before they fired that last one. What exactly happened, or what you should do on Ashe at this point in the game is, if your R is up and they kind of clump together, just send it. It's up in 90 seconds. You just send it, and that's exactly kind of the mindset that they've obtained since Ashe hit level 12. Is just every time it's up, fire it forward, let's go, let's do this. And now they have to reset because there's really not much action happening. You know, pick up a couple item components. They gotta get a back a control ward as well. This means that they lose control of this top side of the river. They're aware of this though, as Renata's walking into danger, was walking into danger as a matter of fact, but is now potentially walking into a fight as the hook does miss. They don't know where Viego is. Now they do, thank goodness for the volley of arrows there. Ashe arrow is up. Do we just send it? Do we see the brand? We just send it. Nice flash.
Arrow coming in, hitting absolutely no one. Sign gonna follow it up, gonna try to find the knock up on Tristana, but unfortunately the jump happens just too quickly and they're not able to lock them down. That's gonna be too powerful abilities, as well as the charm is no longer up. So if Khan's gonna fight, this may not be the worst opportunity. They do have Brand Ultimate, and there is a lot of clumping here. Ornn may get caught. At the very least, he's isolated on the other side, but still Sinset not wanting to take the bait, Sinset not wanting to risk it, because I think this next fight, this next true fight will really determine how the game boils down. If Khan can win it, the gray screen is going to be so powerful right here, and they can turn that into an objective. And the same thing for Sinset. If they get 1 kill, if this fight goes in the favor of either one, I think it'll decide the final nail in the coffin for either side.
So interesting about this game right now too is it's 2,000 gold lead for Sinset, but it kind of doesn't matter because of the Otacon from earlier. So the game feels a lot closer than it is.
Oh,
Dango.
No. Dango gonna get isolated. He's left a little bit too far behind. We had talked about the immobility of Brand as he gets taken down, blows his ultimate, and ultimately might just blow.
Oh, what an arrow
for his team. Ashe arrow coming in, gonna lock down Vul. Vul getting a little bit of help there by Ornn. Ornn gonna knock up there. Renata gonna respond to an ultimate of her own as Sion gets a double knockout.
Oh no.
That's gonna get pushed to the wall and destroyed. That's gonna be a dead Nautilus, and that's gonna be a dead Ornn, and this might be a dead Khan.
Hello, what are we doing?
Fireman, what are you doing? killing Volo, apparently. Still a good chunk of damage back and forward for Volo. The cooldown should be up for Fireman. A really nice back and forward on both sides as Baron has started, and this should go to the side of Sinset. I said before DBZ I was really worried about the Brand pick, and I think it is truly showing right here. He just needs to get too close, and it's just way too dangerous for him.
Yeah, and that is absolutely costly because he dies, then they lose another member as well, and a bunch of summoners are burned. They lose the Baron, they lose the mid tier 2. Oh my god. We were stalling for so long that Elder's up in 46 seconds. I was not even watching the Elder timing when we were doing that weird little mid lane dance. That was like a 4.5 minute straight mid lane dance as the arrow is flying forward.
Coming in. Fortunately, not able to grab one. Cyan going to follow up with an ultimate of his own. Super beam.
Oh, he went in. Oh, what?
Going to find Brand, but it doesn't matter as he gets shut down and destroyed by Brand.
Oh my god, what are we doing?
The stun and the damage is real. Brand can do a lot if he does not get caught, and that showed right there as finally some more lifeblood in the favor of Khan right before the extremely important objective of Elder. Elder, 10 seconds on the clock, and Super Beans is not going to be up for it.
Do they have to fight for this? No, they really shouldn't fight for this. They just kind of lose the game if they do. But we went a little too far forward. We got a little hostage sauce as Beanie there. They lose the Elder Drake. That, again, like I said from earlier, while yes, they have the gold lead, it doesn't feel like it because of the Otacon and also the individual leads coming in as well, coming in for some of these members. But it's just kind of insane. Yeah, there's the lead on the Tristana. Brand is only 900 gold down. Diego's ahead. So it's these individual leads that are coming in right now. Top is ahead 2,000 gold. Support gold is ahead 2,000. Oh my god, Renata has 21 assists. Okay, that also explains a lot. So it's just like the gold is fine. They're ahead, but it's not in really exactly the right places per se. It is in the right places, but it's not at the same time because Khan still have the leads of their own as well as we're getting another pause come through. Oh, 31 and almost 31 and a half minutes. And this game, again, even the score is deceptive, but it looks like it could go either way.
Well, and at this point, you know, Khan is so powerful. They have, you mentioned all of the gold advantages. Volo has a lead on gold, which is not something you want. We've seen what he can do with gold, and we've seen him do it over and over. And a couple of small little bitty mistakes have really been spelling the doom here for Sinset. Looks like we had maybe a little bit of disconnect. Riot Client probably doing Riot Client things, forcing, I believe that was Vul out of the game, which he definitely does not want. That would not be a rage quit. There's no reason for it after grabbing Elder, so this is purely client based. But yeah, at this point, Khan is extremely frightening, and I don't think Sinset, unless they have a heavy advantage, can win any team fight while that Elder is up. DBZ.
I'm with you. And if that Brand ultimate hypothetically spreads to more than 2 people, it's going to be an absolute disaster for Sinset. Their health bars are going to explode, and then it's easy pickings for Viego and Tristana from there. But we should be back here shortly. So what's nice about pauses this deep in the game is we have a lot we can talk about. We can even go back to the beginning of the game if we wanted to, for like how we got to this point. It started out with Sinset coming out of the gates really hard. They ended up getting the feats of strength. They completed the 3 kills and the 3 objectives as well, and they were pretty ahead for a hot while. But because Tristana was getting these kills onto Will Show Them All multiple times when they're getting caught out, and then Vol being there and helping with some of the extra damage after Dongo goes down from some of these ultimates, and able to get these gold leads, even though it's like far, they were still able to provide a lot of pressure of their own. Even though they lost Soul, they just got Elder, they got Otacon as well. That was for free, mind you. So this team, like over the course of this game, is leveled up, and we saw what they did in the previous game. We see what they could do from behind, which is impressive. Because something that we always like to see in League of Legends is how can you play from behind. Khan is showing us just bide your time, make picks, get the gold where you need it, and try to take the fights on your terms. They haven't been able to do that. Well, now I think they're at a point where they can now, but they have not been able to do that as of yet, and I think now is their time.
And I think something to point out as well is that Ornn has been steadily building up here in the background. right?
that too.
He's had you know, constant passives going on. I believe it's his passive that allows you to get the upgrade off, but he's been able to upgrade himself. He's been able to upgrade items on his team, which have been so powerful. And I think this game, I think Khan is really showing that KDA is a factor, but it's not the most important metric in the game. These objectives, what you do with the gold, you know, your execution, those things I think are more important than just KDA. Because you could say the same thing there for Nautilus. Well, Nautilus his score isn't that great. Well, obviously he could be doing better, but if Nautilus absorbs a good chunk of the damage right before a fight, then he's doing what he needs to for his team. And the same thing for you know, both Brand and for Ornn. Ornn taking the damage, and then Brand just really needs that one good ultimate, especially at this point in the game. And Brand is set up in a couple of really good spots to where he can just get a massive stun in. Super Beans went in right there a little bit before Elder, and Brand was able to turn that into a combo stun, and just his team picked him apart. That's something people forget about, how powerful is that stun on Brand.
We're back. All right, so we're back in the game. We should have the Riot Games pause here in a second. Now, I still believe that Sinset could win a fight. It's just going to be very hard. I think if they pick someone off, they could do it really well. Arrow into Charm, and they just absolutely one pump whoever it is that they pick out. That's fine. You know, here's the Riot Games pause. It'll unpause in here in a few seconds, and we'll get caught back up. But 5-minning this down in the mid lane makes a lot of sense to me. They have to push against Baron, which is going to be a little hard. They do have Brand, but their Baron push is not that great. Ari is off to the side, but here's what I was saying: if they could just land a really good arrow, pick someone off, and oh, that was actually really good charm.
Massive charm there on the Nautilus, but it's just not good enough. The ultimate for Ashe does come in right there at the end, but it's just not able to reach Nautilus, and ultimately Khan is able to escape. You were talking about how important that arrow is, and it got so close to doing so much. I think Ari did a bit more because Nautilus is way squishier than the Ornn top.
I think they also maybe missed when to layer those abilities, if that makes a lot of sense. But they have a lot of nonsense they can do right now. Not really against Sion. Oh, this Brand ultimate could do... Okay, it didn't actually do that much. Okay, it could have done a lot. That charm did a lot.
Angle there on Arm, but unfortunately, once again, no real follow-up here by Sinset. They fell for the same trap twice in a row, but even worse is Sinset was not able to follow it up. Killing Brand would have spelled the doom for Khan, but unfortunately, the team was not ready. The team is probably feeling a bit of fatigue, and I think we're seeing it right here, DBZ.
We go again. The Elder doesn't get much done. The Baron didn't get really anything done either. So we're just gonna wait for both the neutral objectives to be up again, and then we're gonna do this all over again. So we keep going. I know, I think I memed that last game was gonna be like a 40-minute game, but I think this game is gonna end up being like a 40-minute game, to be completely honest with you. Both these teams just kind of limit testing. They know that like the first win of the split is on the line, and you obviously want that. You know, it was like, hey, we won our first game of the split. Hey, that's really good, because anything can determine how your season goes. If these two teams are like, hypothetically, we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the series go, obviously, but if we get these two teams again later in the split, this is going to be in another fun series to watch later on in the split, or even maybe in playoffs if they get to that point. I would want to see these two teams in a best of 5. I want to see how far they can push themselves in a 5-game series. I know it's like not a hot take, but it's like overreacting in week 1, but if this is the team in this group, I can't wait to see what the other teams are like.
Absolutely. I do share your sentiment on that one, DBZ. And what's nice about this being a league and not a tournament, not a single elimination tournament or something like that, is there's a very realistic chance that we'll run into these people. I haven't broken down the exact format, but I very highly doubt we're not going to run into them once again. And something I wanted to point out here is the upgrades here for Ornn. He's decided to upgrade the Leandries for Brand, and of course, Tristana's first item as well. That's a lot of power right there, and it shows how deceptive the KDA is. Renata running directly in to follow. The fight has begun on this. Will decide so much, but unfortunately it's not going to happen as Bull gets absolutely absolutely destroyed Killen. Gonna have to run about Sion as they do
That was
manage to
unlucky.
escape, but they do lose their jungle. The charm misses on that side as Will show them all, trying to find an angle there. Two locks them down. He is gonna, Fairly's gonna
Oh, he
shut
flashed
there
into the
on
stun.
Tango's gonna worry about it. Nautilus gonna get taken down. Brand
Oh,
gonna
it's
go down
Jover.
just as well. And this might finally be the end of the game.
Oh, it's
The flag
Jover.
comes forward, and the death happens on Killen, leaving Ornn here by themselves, leaving Ornn here to hold the bag. And series number one is gonna fall to the side of Sinset. Ornn making a final less desperate charge, and it's ultimately just not gonna matter
He
as
lived.
the fountain turret gets destroyed and the game winds down, and Sinset takes a 2-1 victory.
Wow, Sinset winning this series off of the back of critical late game mistakes by Khan. They're just getting caught out in crucial positions, ends up netting them the loss for this series 2-1. Oh my. It was a good game. Like, despite the score, it was a very good game. It's just those late game mistakes coming out of Khan players. It was just unlucky what happened there at the end of that game. And I've got to give props to both teams. Like, it looked good. It was fun. We got to see how both teams played when the game was close. We got to see Khan absolutely show us what happens when they put their pedal to the metal. And then we got to see what happens. Same thing with Sinset as well. They had firm control. They had the pedal to the metal for the first like 20 minutes of that game. And then things got a little awkward, but in the end, they still got the job done and destroyed the Nexus and took the series.
Absolutely, an absolutely exciting start to AEL for this season. I'm happy I got a chance to cast it. I'm happy I got a chance to cast it with you. It was definitely a blast on my end. But like I said, keep in mind, these teams aren't out. We're going to see more and more from them. And this is only series number one of this entire league. So there's a chance for massive growth from both sides, absolute shenanigans. And that game really boiled down to just a couple of small mistakes, really, for sure. We saw the mistakes on both junglers really change the tempo, change the pendulum, and ultimately win the game right there at the end. Either way, I have been your host for the team, Korak. He has been DBZ, and this has been AEL on Aegis. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned next week because we'll have more for you.
Bro, just use Zen Market.
Tomorrow, won't the waves crash on? Is it selfish that I'm happy as we pass the set?